Hey, good afternoon, everyone. 9 minutes. No, I said even 9 minutes. It is September 9th. Already the numbers. I'm messing up the numbers. It's the 9th day of September. It is 7 minutes now past the hour. 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. That was an auspicious start, wasn't it? All right. Well, we're not gonna go backwards because what's behind you is not important. What's ahead of you is a thing you need to focus on.
Be unburdened by what has been, Brian.
I am unburdened by what has been and can see the possibilities of what can be. All right. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Well, we'll just call it a 2024 update. That's what we want to get into. Right off the bat, first rattle out of the box. Tell me where that came from. That's saying. You've heard it before, right? First rattle out of the box.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Thought to be originated from the 9 dots puzzle created by British mathematician Henry Ernest Dudney in the early 20th century. Just telling you what it says. I don't know.
Wow. That was quick, by the way. Very quick.
Yeah.
That's way to go, Brother Chris.
Yeah, that's right. He's got Google.
Oh, wait, never mind. Completely disregard that. That was the phrase thinking outside the box. See, I went with the AI overview that came up initially when I Googled that, and that's what I get for relying on AI.
Well, did you get anything for first rattle out of the box?
First shot out of the box, let's see. It's a cowboy's expression meaning prompt action. That's all it says right there.
All right. Well, that was a real waste of time. All right, what do we want to talk about? Well, Kamala has not done a press conference in now 50 days. She has had a number of things on her mind about priorities that she would take the Oval Office if she got it, but she hasn't talked about specifics. They put a few things up on her webpage finally, but it's broad brush stuff. No real details about what she truly believes in, and no explanation for all the flipping and the flopping. She's like a bass on a deck. I mean, she's flipping and flopping all over the place, and she doesn't quite. We don't know quite what she really stands for. But, that's the way it's going to be, apparently. Tomorrow, of course, the big debate. We'll get into more about debate preparations and get your thoughts about that. But it is really quite astonishing that someone who can, wants to be the president of the United States doesn't have a few minutes to answer a few questions from the press corps. Because, they basically, it's the basement strategy without a basement. It's the same thing that Biden did. Don't go out there and answer any questions. People don't need to know what you will do, and the more you do, you lay it out there. The more of course, you limit what your options are once you get in office. I guess is what they're thinking. One thing that we're pretty sure of is that Kamala Harris, although she has been moving, all of her positions seem to be moving toward the middle. She is. She's not really a moderate. She is a progressive. Even Bernie Sanders said so. I mean, he said the quiet part out loud this weekend on NBC, Meet the Press.
She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
He actually spoke the truth there. No, she's not. She hasn't walked away from being a progressive. She's being pragmatic. She's just simply saying exactly what she needs to say to win the election. But don't believe her. Bernie Sanders doesn't believe her. I can't believe he actually said that, but he did say what a lot of people are thinking. She has clearly, she cannot have held previous positions she held, let's say, for example, on fracking. And now just say completely, well, yeah, I know I believed that for a long time, but now I no longer believe that. Medicare for everyone, which is basically nationalized medicine. I'm very much in favor of it. Let's just do away with the private insurance and just everybody will be on Medicare for everyone. It'll be nationalized. Let's just do that. And now she says, I don't believe that. Well, I don't believe that she doesn't believe that. I mean, I don't believe the things she says now because these are lifelong held positions. And then when you ask her, and she only got asked the question once or twice, during that sit-down interview with Dana Bash, she got asked, well, have you changed your position? I haven't, I haven't changed my beliefs. Well, hold on a minute. I don't know about you, but just about every person that I know, their opinions are formed by their beliefs. Their positions, the things that they feel strongly about, are pinned to their beliefs. And if she hasn't changed her belief, then how can she have changed her position? It's baffling. It's just baffling. But Bernie Sanders saying the loud part outright. No, she's still a progressive.
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
Is there anything more repulsive than a politician who just says whatever has to be said in order to get elected? Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear so that, you can vote for me. And I'll explain why she's doing that right now. Let's talk about this. There are some numbers out. And I think the big headline out of these numbers, and they come from the New York Times. You may not believe the New York Times, but they do run checks on which pollsters are most accurate. And the New York Times Siena poll has been the top poll for accuracy. So you have to sort of look at that and go, well, they've done pretty good there. They now have, in the general election, Trump winning by 1. It's 48 for Trump, 47 for Kamala Harris. 5% of Americans say they are undecided. The rest are going to vote for a smattering of third-party candidates. Harvard-Harris has it as tied. New York Times has Trump up by 1. Trump gets 4% of the Democrats, and Harris gets 5% of the GOP. So that's sort of a wash. Here is the real telltale sign, and why she is flipping and flopping and changing all her positions. She needs to get the independents, and Trump had a lead on independents. Now, independents are tied. Each has 48% of the independent vote. That is pretty interesting. This is in the internals. You hear, well, Trump's winning by 1, but when you dig into the internals, you find out all this rich data that tells you, how they came up with their numbers. 47% of Americans now disapprove of Joe Biden's performance. Okay, that's interesting. And then you got 59% of those who are voting say they believe that Kamala will bring more of the same. Well, what is the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expecting a different result. If you're not happy with the way things are going in America today, why would you want to continue doing the same thing? 59% of those polled by the New York Times said they believe Kamala is going to give us more of the same. 53% said they believe Trump is an agent of change, that he will change the policies. 68% of Americans in this poll. Now, that's nearly 70%. That's getting way up there. So more than 2/3 of Americans say they need to know more about Kamala's positions. And I think as they find out more about Kamala's positions and her flipping and her flopping, I don't think that they're going to be all that thrilled. By the way, Trump, only 28% of those who were surveyed said they needed to see more of what Trump stands for. They know Trump. They've got him figured out. Kamala Harris is, to 2/3 of Americans, still something of a mystery as far as his positions are concerned. I will say one other thing jumped out at me as I looked at the internals of this New York Times poll. The enthusiasm gap is gone. For a while, we had a big advantage. When Biden was the nominee for the Democrats, there were a lot of Democrats who were not enthusiastic about voting for him. And Donald Trump had a big lead in the enthusiasm column. Now it's exactly up the middle. 63% of Americans say they are enthusiastic about voting for their particular candidate, be they Democrat or Republican. It's the same number, 63 each way. So there you have it, the numbers as they have been laid out for us, and I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there. I would say that most people look at this New York Times saying, and the headline that you see most often in the interpretation of this poll is her surge has ended, but it hasn't really faded, not really significantly. Let's talk about the swingiest of all the swing states. And that would be Pennsylvania. I mean, as Pennsylvania goes, it's hard to see a scenario where you win the presidency without winning Pennsylvania. And it is so dead even there, so tight. Harry Enton is the number cruncher over at CNN.
In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. All right, this is Harris versus Trump margin in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. A month ago, when you looked at the polls, New York Times +4 Harris, +3 Quinnipiac for Harris, Franklin and Marshall +3 for Harris. But look at polls that have come out over the last week or so, and what do we see? We see a much tighter race. We see a tie in the CBS YouGov poll. We see a tie in the CNN SSRS poll. And this, to me, is part of an emerging pattern, which is in a very pivotal state. What we saw was a small Harris lead, but within the margin of error, becoming a race that is way, way, way too close to call at this particular point, one that is even. So Kamala Harris wins the Electoral College when she wins the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But let's take Pennsylvania out of Kamala Harris's column and put him into Donald Trump's column. Trump wins in the Electoral College, 287 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 251 electoral votes.
Now, if it is in fact a tipping point state, is there any elected official in Pennsylvania who may have been on a ticket that might have made a difference?
Well, this was the great question when Kamala Harris was making her VP selection. Who should she select? And of course, folks like myself thought that she should take Josh Shapiro, who of course is the governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Why? Because his approval rating is 59%. And the bottom line is, if Kamala Harris loses in the state of Pennsylvania, and that is the tipping point state, is the state that put Donald Trump over the top in the Electoral College, there are going to be some real questions as to whether Kamala Harris should have chosen Josh Shapiro, given how popular he is in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Could she have been a winner if she had chosen him instead of Tim Walz? We don't know the answer to that question. We don't know who's going to win the state of Pennsylvania, but it's certainly a question that at this particular moment, with the Pennsylvania polls getting tighter and tighter and tighter, that I'm certainly asking.
Well, I think that's a pretty good analysis. So it's tied right now. The last couple of polls that come in, it does seem as if her surge is over. The high water mark is there, maybe receding just a little if the numbers that we're seeing lately seem to be correct. But it really is, as if you look at it, it's all within the margin of error. It's all pretty close. Now, let me just throw out this one thing that I always like to throw out when I'm talking about the numbers. Numbers are only a guidepost, a snapshot in time. You look at the trend over time. You don't look at one poll and come up with any one and say this is it. This is the true way it is. It's just an analysis and a snapshot. And I would say this. Again, pollsters have had a difficult time sometimes finding the correct number of Trump voters. They have underestimated Trump in many, many, many polls. Now, the New York Times has done better than most in their polling, but still, it's very likely that Trump is a little stronger, perhaps, than the polls indicate, because they've always underestimated him. Always the numbers, when at the end of the day, he does better than the polls suggested he was going to do. So that's it for now. We got much more to cover as the show goes along, and we'll talk a little bit more about the upcoming debate a little bit later in this hour. Right now, 21 past the hour. Let me talk about the folks over at Restoration Wellness and Med Spa. It's that it's about losing weight right now. They are the leader in weight loss management in Wilson County. You need to call the Restoration Wellness team today like I did at 615-470-8124 or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation today. Now, my friends over there, Carly and Jamie, are just the nicest people. They truly are. You're really going to enjoy getting to meet them and know them, and they will take care of you like you're part of the family. Be a part of the more than 1,000 patients who've already seen life-changing results from the weight loss management program there, and I am among them. Down 25 pounds, folks, 25 pounds. Weight loss can increase your energy levels, improve your quality of sleep, enhance your overall health. These are customized treatments, not one size fits all. Restoration Wellness considers your unique needs, lifestyle, and goals. Whether your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has a solution for you. Learn about the newest techniques in weight loss management. Go to the website, restorationwellnessandmedspa.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Still got that disabled vehicle mucking things up on that north loop around downtown. It is at 65 northbound at I-24. That Kentucky highway shooting suspect is still on the loose, but we have an update from authorities. Tell you about it at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 25 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom, making sure that all news is covered. When news breaks out, he's there to fix it.
Yes.
That's right. And then there's Chris Weber in the control room pushing all the blinky buttons, and he tries to keep me under control as best he can. This weekend, I didn't do much on Sunday, as I mentioned in the crosstalk with Matt. I just sort of took it easy. Watched the Titans.
That's week one, Brian.
Yeah, I know. And it's a new team and a new plan and a new coach and all of that. But I had my hopes in the first half. And then, wow, the second half. Anyway, and so there's that. And then, but I went to the Tennessee Firearms Association event, their annual meeting, on Saturday and caught up with a ton of people. Mark Green was there, Congressman Mark Green. I sat with Senator Mark Pody for the state legislature. I saw John Rose, Marsha Harshberger. I saw Andy Ogles at a distance. We did not chat, but I saw him. So, a great number of people was there. And of course, Pete Hegseth, who comes on our show every Wednesday, was the speaker, and he was very, very, very good. It was great to catch up. But talking to Mark Green, during sort of, one of the lulls in the event, we were talking, and I was catching up with him, and he's now on this ad hoc committee that's investigating the assassination attempt against Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And he said, I could tell this story, so I'm not telling a story out of school. He told me that the thing that shocked him most was the fact that when the local sniper team had a picture of the shooter with the golf rangefinder locked in on the podium, they took a picture of it, and that went to a state patrolman who was in the Secret Service command center. The state patrolman took his phone over to a Secret Service person in charge there and showed them that there was a guy with a rangefinder trying to, estimate the distance to the podium. And that was 10 minutes before Trump went out to begin his speech. They let him go on stage knowing that information and having seen a picture.
Boy.
Now, it's the first time I've ever heard that somebody in a position to stop the thing had that crucial information. I haven't heard that story told anywhere else. And he says you can tell that story. That's true. And he said somebody from the state patrol showed the Secret Service their phone a picture of the individual with the rangefinder 10 minutes before Donald Trump took the stage, and yet they let him still take the stage. Pretty shocking stuff. So it was great to catch up with him and have a nice conversation with these folks. It's always a good event. Pete Hegseth couldn't have been nicer. Pete, I think came to Fox News after he came after I left. So we really didn't know each other at Fox News, but I really like him, and he gave a great speech, and he says that, and I said, well, we really appreciate you being on the show every Wednesday when the schedules work out. And he said, yeah, I love being on the show. And he said he hears from a lot of people about that appearance. So, he knows the power of this radio station, which is something. In fact, everywhere I went there that day, people were walking up saying hello, that they listened to the program. So a real gathering of people who care deeply about the Second Amendment, as I do. And it was good to sort of hang out with those folks. So that was my weekend. Did you guys have anything good going this weekend?
I did. I sipped fine wine and smoked a big fat cigar.
How did OU do this week? I didn't check.
They were very underwhelming.
And
will probably be exceedingly mediocre the rest of the season.
And the Bulldogs, I didn't even look.
Oh, did they play? I didn't even notice. They almost kind of didn't play, but yeah, they took care of business. Tennessee Tech came into town, collected a check, and headed on home.
Yeah, I read a story about some football player just before the game being arrested outside the stadium. I'll have to look it up.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that's it. And I was thinking it's a shame they didn't stop Tom Brady the same way.
Or didn't do any good. Did you see he was later in the game, scored a touchdown, and then did the hands behind his back pose like he was in handcuffs?
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, so it's like, yeah. All right.
Yeah, well, Tom Brady's broadcasting debut was, you talk about underwhelming.
I didn't see any of it. But I heard that people were going,
yeah. Well, anyway, everybody thinks it's easy to be a broadcaster.
That's true.
That's right. All right. It's 30 minutes past the hour. Time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Kentucky, about halfway between Lexington and Knoxville, State Police spokesman Master Trooper Scotty Pennington says his believed highway shooting suspect from Saturday, Joseph Couch, still in the area, but Anything is possible.
We hope that he's still in that area. We hope that we've got him contained. But we all know they don't always end that way.
Yeah, 32-year-old Joseph Count accused of shooting at a number of vehicles Saturday along I-75 there in London, Kentucky. 5 people have gunshot wounds. At least 12 vehicles were struck. The U.S. Justice Department has filed charges against 2 alleged white supremacists who have allegedly inspired hate crimes in other countries and hope to spark a race war here at home. Stephen Portnoy with details.
Prosecutors say the 2 California men used the social media site Telegram with the aim of bringing about a white ethno-state. The pair allegedly inspired followers to carry out attacks in Slovakia and Turkey. Another follower stands accused in a plot to target electrical substations in New Jersey. The 2 alleged ringleaders, Dallas Humber and Matthew Allison, are charged with soliciting the killings of federal officials and soliciting hate crimes. Prosecutors say they made a list of targets that included senators, federal judges, and U.S. attorneys.
Disgraced media mogul Harvey Weinstein, who's been jailed in New York City's Rikers Island detention facility, had to be rushed to Bellevue Hospital for emergency heart surgery today. Sources telling ABC News he was experiencing chest pains. This emergency comes as Weinstein's due in court this week in New York on new sex crimes charges. And a funeral service for NHL player Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew nearly 2 weeks after they were killed by an alleged drunk driver. Gaudreau's wife says she is pregnant. The driver, 43-year-old Sean Higgins, remains in jail pending a hearing. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Let me ask you, what was it like the last time you were at an auto repair shop? Was it stinky, smelly, greasy old rags lying around, a filthy countertop you didn't want to touch? Afraid to sit down, actually, weren't you? Another thing that stinks is the repair shops that keep your car forever. They're not honest, and they don't call you back when they say that will. If that was your last experience at a vehicle repair shop, you need to try Eurofix, because Eurofix takes the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you'll get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. No high-pressure sales tactics. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment, and you'll never pay dealer prices. Eurofix now located in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and their newest facility, Mount Juliet. Call 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com, and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
38 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Opening up the phone lines now at 615-737-9986. You know, tomorrow night, the big debate will be broadcasting live from Scoreboard Cedar Creek in Mount Juliet. Still time for you to make arrangements to come on out and come out and see. No need a ticket. It'd be nice to sort of RSVP, let us know you're going to be there if you can. But we'll, one way or the other, just to show up. Tuesday, September 10th, starting at 3 o'clock, I'll be doing the drive out there, and then Dan, Chris, and Matt will join me as the evening progresses, and we will be all the way up to the debate time. And so, as far as I know, the debate is on. There's no hiccups. Everybody knows what the rules are. It's going to be a big deal. What I'd like to know from you right now with these open phone lines is, imagine for a moment that you were sitting down across the table from Donald Trump, and he asked you the question, how do you think I ought to handle this debate? What advice would you give to Donald Trump? What are the things that you want him to try to accomplish in that debate? How should he handle himself? And how should he draw out Kamala Harris? Again, remember, it's a very tightly controlled debate, but I'd love to know your thoughts. 615-737-9986. All the phone lines are open right now. I'd love to get somebody to chat with me at what they would do, how they feel this thing is going to go, your thoughts about the debate tomorrow. A couple of stories that I found while we're waiting on some of the calls to come in. Harris past debates, prosecutor style with a narrative flair, but risks in a matchup with Trump. This is from the Associated Press. She desperately wants to be able to say to Donald Trump at some point, I'm talking right now. I'm talking. But I don't know that she's going to get that opportunity. It will put the Democrat vice president's skills to a test unlike any she's faced. She's new at debates for the most part, having not done many of them. But Donald Trump has done, I think this will be his 7th debate. So, a bit more experience perhaps in all of this. What would you recommend to him? What kind of things would you like Donald Trump to accomplish in this debate, and how would you draw out your opponent? Let's start with Chris in Spring Hill. Chris, you're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Chris?
Hi. Well, I think personally that they're going to try and make him look bad, try and make him look like a mean jerk. And if he is complimentary and he is polite and such, and she's trying to bait him and goat him on to behaving badly or looking ugly, then she'll come off looking bad. So I think he really needs to try and be polite and cordial.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I mean, one thing I would say is that, you're right. She's going to needle him and try to get him to react. Because we've seen him do that before. I'm not telling you anything you haven't observed. Man has sort of thin skin about some things. Doesn't take much to get him, feeling as if he needs to respond. I don't think you need to respond to everything that she says. I think he had the right approach with Biden, which was to sort of lay back, rope-a-dope, and just, let her talk word salad, because people will see how weak she really is. I don't know that you need to score any major offensive points. I just think you need to get out of that thing, having come across as a reasonable individual and not taking the debate, the debate bait. That's hard to say. The debate bait is I think you're right about that. John in Woodbury, what is your thought, John?
Thought is he needs to just lay back, take it easy, don't get excited, don't fall in for the bait, and state the facts. Just lay the facts out like they are, and don't argue with her. Let her have her time, and just sit back. Like you said, let her do the word salad, and get the facts out. Just the facts. Don't need to go anywhere. Don't need to make no smart remarks. Just stick to the facts, and he'll come out a winner. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a good instinct. Michael in Manchester is up next. Hello, Michael. You're on with Brian on the drive. If you were advising Donald Trump for this debate tomorrow night, which I think is going to be this is going to be make or break, I think, for this campaign. This could be the big moment. What would you tell him?
Well, I would say, just like some of the other callers has already stated, come in and be firm with your answers to your questions, but do not rattle the cage. She's going to do that herself. Just be calm, cool, and collect. And I know he can do that if he chooses to. But that's the consensus I think he needs to do, is just come in, be calm, and be stern with his answers and not dilly-daddle and try to get everybody excited. If he just comes in and is calm and be forthwith with his answers, he shouldn't have no problem.
Well, I have been one of these people who's had at times a little heartburn over the way he sometimes does his events, and I think he needed to stay more onto the topic and stay with the speech and a lot less riffing. And you know what I've seen? I've seen exactly that. I have some real confidence that he has learned to pull it back just a little bit, which is all that was really ever needed. It wasn't a big fix. It wasn't a huge fix. Doesn't mean you don't have a good moment and a laugh now and then, but I mean just to sort of just pull the horn, as my daddy would say, pull in your horns a little bit. You're a little too out there. And I think if you just do a minor adjustment, and I've seen that of late. He seems to be more disciplined in his communication effort, and I think that bodes well for the coming debate. Anthony in Millersville. Hello, Anthony. You're on with Brian on the Drive. Your advice.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for taking my call. I would say, just like you said, with the discipline, staying disciplined and hammering on policy, just policy, and letting her talk and kind of hang herself. She's going to do it. If he stays disciplined and lets her hang herself, he's going to win the debate, and if he hammers on foreign and domestic policy, he'll be just fine.
Let me ask you the reverse question. What do you think her strategy will be?
Honestly, I think she's really counting on Donald Trump slipping up. I really do. I think she's really counting on him. She's counting on him to make an ass of himself. I think her and her advisors are accounting on that.
Yeah, I think you might be right. All right, thank you for that. Larry in Clarksville, up next on the Drive. Larry, your advice for Donald Trump I think this is a crucial moment in this campaign. With things pretty much tied up, whoever scores well in this debate, it could mean the difference about who becomes the president. What's your advice?
Well, thanks for taking my call, Brian. And I absolutely agree with you. It's going to be crucial. First of all, Kamala, and I wanted to say a different name, but I won't because I don't want to be put in,
time out. Yeah.
Yeah. She is, she's had her whole political career with support of Richards. I just would like Donald Trump to come out, stay on point, state his accomplishments, and just state the truth and not get riled up and just, let her hang herself.
All right, Larry, thank you for that. Let's move on to Bill. Man, everybody wants to get in and get an opinion. Bill in Berry Hill, you're up next on the Drive. What's your thought, Bill?
Well, Brian, I think he should start out by complimenting her. He should say, after watching your commercials, I think me and you are thinking a lot alike. and you've shown more of my wall to the American people than the United States press has. And you are talking about fragging, and I was fragging before you all got in the office, and our gas was lower. I just want to thank you for showing the American people that my ideas worked.
Yeah. I think that's pretty sharp, Bill. I like that idea. Thanks a lot. Corey in Murfreesboro, you're up next on the Drive. Hey, Corey, what's up?
Oh, not much. I agree with Bill. I was going to say that to make it agree with my policies work, but also I can't remember who said it, but I agree. I think at every opportunity that he gets the chance to refer to her as vice president, he should, because it ties her to Biden. And because they're trying to run on, hey, we're going to make everything better than it was beforehand, but you were there beforehand. So I think that's their mistake, is saying it's, as in Harris's campaign mistake trying to make it like he is the incumbent when he's not. But I think at every opportunity he should refer to her as Vice President Kamala Harris. So maybe they're like, well, is she the vice president? Well, wait a minute. She was, and they tied 2 and 2 together kind of thing.
That's a great idea. That's a subtle thing, but it really does remind people that if you don't like the way things are, then there are 2 people that, have a lot of responsibility for the way that things are. And one of them is Vice President Kamala Harris. Thank you, Corey. Andrew in Mount Juliet, you're up next on the drive. Hey, Andrew, what's your thought?
Hey, Brian, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm thinking same thing. Everybody seems to be on point. Policy. And I'd like to see some direct interaction with him like he did in Pennsylvania in that town hall last week where he came out and told Pennsylvanians, you don't have to like me, but you have to vote for me. I'd like to see some more of that where he can kind of skip over his negative personality attributes that everybody has labeled him with. And those are the 2 things I'd like to see him do.
Yeah, I thought that, by the way, was pretty effective. People have, I got a poll, we talked about it earlier. 68% of those who were polled by the New York Times say they need to know more about Kamala's positions. Only 28% felt that way about Trump. He's a known entity. And people, have watched him for a long time on the stage. And so, they know a lot about him. And they have an opinion about him. But I think it was important for him to say, yeah, you may not like the way, I behave at times. But even if you don't like me, you have to look at my policies and remember how good it was. And let's return to that. I think that was pretty shrewd. I really do. How about Jeff in Fayetteville? You're up next on the drive. What do you say, Jeff?
Hey, Brian. Thank you for taking my call. Long-time listener, first-time caller to your show.
Thanks.
My thought is he should focus less on what he has done and will do and more on what she hasn't done and can't do. That's my thought.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's get Bo in Spring Hill. Bo, you're up next on the drive. What do you say?
I think he needs to lay all the repercussions of an open border on her heavily. All the deaths by fentanyl, all the murders, all the rapes, that she's responsible directly for this because she was the border czar. Yep. She needs to keep pounding that.
Keep handling. I'll add one more thing. He needs to somehow, get her to reveal her position on men, biological males playing against women in sports. That, I'm telling you, is an issue that could win the election because I think a lot of moms, soccer moms out there, would change their position if she had to defend some of the things she said in the past. It's 51 minutes past the hour. Is your back hurting you? Well, I mean, you know what that is? It comes down to this: pressure on your nerves. And although we wish it were true, there's no pill or spinal cream that solves that problem. You have really a couple of choices. One of them is surgery. The other is non-surgical, non-invasive spinal decompression. Now, I chose non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and it worked for me. I was in just the other day. Their state-of-the-art facilities offer the most high-tech equipment you can't imagine the stuff they got down there, and offers the latest non-surgical techniques. Getting better is important, so Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are offering half off spinal decompression treatments and half off the KT machine, which is sort of like spinal decompression for your knee. If you're a new patient, here's what's going to happen. They're going to give you an exam, take an x-ray if you need one. You'll have your consultation with the docs, and then they will come up with a treatment plan, and you'll receive your first treatment. All $23. That's all it costs, $23. I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Call them today, 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Kentucky interstate shooter manhunt, and tired of sitting in stop-and-go traffic, a California man makes a fatal decision in Nashville And the legendary voice of Darth Vader has been silenced. Details at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 57 minutes past the hour, 3 o'clock. Take a look at the markets. We're really making up some ground from last week. Dow Jones Industrial up 484 points. The S&P up 62. The NASDAQ is up 193. That's all pretty vibrantly green. What's driving this enthusiasm in the market today? Well, let's check in with John Maxon over at Beacon Capital Management for more on that. Good afternoon, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Brian. Yeah, we have definitely a bit of a rebound from the weakest year of 2024. Of course, that was really stemmed from a pretty weak jobs report that the market didn't like on Friday. But we had some bargain hunters come into the market today. This week is really going to start to shift as the market and investors really turn their attention towards a key inflation report that's going to come out on Wednesday. So not a lot of economic reports today. We did have wholesale inventories that were revised down slightly, not a big deal. But again, the big news is going to come on Wednesday. We get consumer price index. The Fed's going to be watching that closely. And we're about a week away from what is widely believed to be the first rate decrease. But inflation and the reports coming out this week is really going to drive that.
All right. Thank you very much, John Maxon. And find out all the things that John and the other folks at Beacon can do to help you get ready for your retirement. Just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. 59 minutes past the hour. You know, fall, you think about your pumpkin spice lattes and the pretty leaves and the pumpkins, frost on the pumpkin. Well, you could kick off your fall season with some great buys and great offers from the folks at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner. You're looking for HVAC specials? How about a free Wi-Fi thermostat on qualifying new HVAC systems? You can now control your HVAC system from anywhere. Or a free whole home air filtration system with the purchase of 2 or more qualifying HVAC systems or a new HVAC system replacement that will start as low as $68 a month with approved credit. Let's talk plumbing. Busy Bee has a new tankless water heaters as low as $72 a month. Whole home drain pipe replacement as low as $76 a month. Whole home water distribution replacement as low as $85 a month. And even a whole home water filtration system as low as $39 a month with approved credit. And remember, being a Beehive member is the best way to keep your systems in tip-top shape all year long. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee, your Rude Pro partner, 615-775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and the drive home is in full effect. A lot of brake tapping around the loop downtown, no matter which direction you're going, but mainly getting out of Nashville. Now, right now in Williamson County, we've got a crash blocking the right lane. This is 840 westbound just past Horton Highway. That's the Highway 41A exit right there at Arrington. We're tracking a good chance for some much needed rain the latter half of this week. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. One of America's great actors, James Earl Jones, has died at the age of 93. ABC News entertainment correspondent Bill Dill looks back on Jones' life on stage, screen, and television.
To a generation of Star Wars fans, James Earl Jones was best known as the voice of Darth Vader.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Jones also provided the voice of Mufasa in Disney's hit animated film The Lion King.
Simba, I'm very disappointed in you.
In 1971, Jones earned a Best Actor Oscar nomination for playing a boxer in the film version of the play The Great White Hope. Born to a poor family in Mississippi, the man who would become famous for his voice actually overcame a stutter as a child.
I lucked out.
R.I.P. Mr. James Earl Jones. What a voice. What a career. Well, here in Middle Tennessee and Kentucky, local, state, and federal authorities say they're searching jungle-like areas for that I-75 shooter from Saturday night over there in East Kentucky.
I gave you photos of it, and you look and you're like, oh, that's just the woods. Until you get out there, there's more to it than just the woods. Sinkholes, caves. There's animals out there. There's snakes. There's all kinds of stuff. So you got to use caution.
State Police spokesman Master Trooper Scotty Pennington says it's believed that highway shooting suspect Joseph Couch still in the area, but anything is possible, he says. Right now in Nashville, new details about the moments leading up to the death of a man on I-65 last night. Police say the 73-year-old from Turlock, California, had been a passenger in a vehicle for 14 hours. Officers were told the man told the driver he was getting claustrophobic. Once they got into some stop-and-go traffic in Nashville, that's when he got out of the car, hopped over the cement barrier, and then ran into the southbound lanes oncoming traffic and was struck and killed. And 2 Californians are now charged with allegedly leading a white supremacist group online that wanted to ignite a race war. Alex Stone.
Dallas Humber and Matthew Allison of California are allegedly leaders of a group that called itself Terrorgram and operated on encrypted social media sites. The 2 were charged with a list of federal crimes. Prosecutors say they were trying to ignite a race war and allegedly plotted to kill high-value targets like senators, federal judges, U.S. attorneys, and other high-profile individuals. The indictment alleges they solicited terror attacks from followers. One alleged follower was a 19-year-old from Slovakia who killed 2 people at an LGBTQ bar.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. 8 minutes past the hour, 4 o'clock. Hour number 2 now beginning here on The Drive on this 9th day of December, the day before, I think, what will be a real inflection point in this election, and that is the debate. Again, reminder, we're going to be live tomorrow at Scoreboard Cedar Creek and Mount Juliet, right there on the lake, and you need to come by and join us. I'll be there starting at 3. The other guys will wander in throughout the afternoon and into the early evening. And we'll hang out and have a good time and watch the presidential debate together. Details at 997WTN.com, and I hope to see you there. Come early and keep me company. And last time I said that, and I mean, the place packed up pretty early. Now, that's okay, though.
That's good for business, man.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
And the good food there, and you can get an adult beverage. I can't, but you can. I have to do radio. And we all know you can't do radio after drinking a couple of adult beverages, or at least one should not.
No, sir.
So I'll be out there early tomorrow, and I hope to see you. Come on by. A good time will be had by all. I need to get into this shooting that occurred last week at that high school in Georgia, Appalachia High, because some of the stuff that's coming out is very, very concerning. Let me just jump into this. Is the Tennessee Star. You ready? Appalachia High School shooting suspect's family claimed that the shooter experienced homicidal and suicidal thoughts the week before the attack. Family members of Colt Gray, who police say killed 4 and injured 9 at Appalachia High School last Wednesday, have reportedly claimed they tried to warn school officials after the teen reported homicidal and suicidal thoughts in the weeks prior to the attack. The Washington Post reported on Saturday it obtained text messages between Marcy Gray, the mother of Colt Gray, Annie Palmas Brown, the biological sister of Marcy Gray, and the aunt of Colt Gray, as well as other family members, which suggests the school was advised that Colt Gray experienced such thoughts in the weeks prior to the attack. According to the Post, text messages show that the school and the family were in contact about the mental health of Colt Gray, with Brown informing an unnamed relative the teen was having homicidal and suicidal thoughts. The messages were apparently sent a week before the shooting, the outlet said. This is, of course, again, the Washington Post. It was also reported that Marcy Gray claimed in text messages that she attempted to inform Appalachia High School staff on the morning of the attack. I'm going to repeat that. The mom claimed in a text message she attempted to inform the school staff on the morning of the attack that an extreme emergency would shortly unfold involving Colt Gray. I was the one that notified the school counselor at the high school, Marcy Gray told Annie Gray. I told them it was an extreme emergency and for them to go immediately and find my son to check on him. The Post also claimed Brown provided screenshots and other phone records that showed Marcy Gray attempted to contact the school approximately 30 minutes prior to the attack. The Associated Press confirmed on Sunday that Brown provided that information to the Post. The Georgia Star News contacted the Barrow County school system to ask about Colt Gray's attendance within the school system, but was directed to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation by Superintendent Dallas LaDuff, who said the district, quote, will continue to cooperate with law enforcement to ensure that justice is served for all victims of this cruel and senseless act. LaDuff told Star News Barrow County schools will continue to cooperate, and et cetera, et cetera. Since charges were filed against Colt Gray, his father, Colin Gray, and his mother, Marcy Gray, it's been reported that the teen suffered from a broken home life, and social media posts by Marcy Gray claimed the family suffered abuse from Colin Gray. Colt Gray was reportedly gifted the weapon used in the shooting by Colin Gray last Christmas, meaning the teen received the weapon only months after Jackson County Sheriff deputies interviewed the father and son following an FBI tip about threats related to an attack on a school. So this is the way it's shaping up. Let's just back up here for a moment. The FBI and the Sheriff's Department get word of an emailed threat or an internet posting that suggested that someone was going to carry out. They did that. They believed after doing their investigation that one individual was Colt Gray, the shooter. They visit the family. They have a conversation with the family. This is last year. Say, hey, and it was denied, no. But everybody knew about that allegation, right? And then apparently now word is coming that on the day of the shooting, the mom was on the phone to counselors at the school giving the information. Here's a Fox News version of that particular part of it. The mother of the Appalachia High School shooting suspect told a family member that she called the school to warn of an extreme emergency that morning. Marcy Gray, the mother of 14-year-old shooting suspect Colt Gray, texted her sister after the September 4th shooting unfolded in Georgia. I was the one that notified the school counselor at the high school, Marcy Gray wrote to Annie Brown, the teen suspect's aunt, according to a screenshot viewed by the Washington Post. I told them it was an extreme emergency and for them to go immediately and find my son to check on him. Brown told the Post that her sister learned concerning information about her son and called the school fearing an impending disaster. The aunt said she did not know specifically what the mother had learned. The aunt confirmed the reporting to the Associated Press on Saturday in text messages, but declined to provide further comment. The Post reported that a call log from the family's shared phone plan indicated a 10-minute call from Marcy Gray to the school that began about 9:50. That's about a half an hour before witnesses claimed the teen opened fire, according to the Washington Post. Wow. Look, I have several concerns here. Number one, when that call came in, that child should have been immediately sought out and taken into custody and brought to the office by the school resource officers, period, end of statement. There was a 30-minute window where, if this information is correct, the mom had alerted them, I don't think something's right. We don't know what she said to them, but according to her, she has and we now have phone records that suggest that, yes, indeed, she called the school about a half hour beforehand and spent some time on the phone talking to someone there. That they should have immediately gone and found the child and brought him to the office to find out, what was going on. An intervention there could have saved lives. But more importantly, I do believe it's correct in this particular case to hold the father accountable. I do. He, knowing that there had been this concern, and clearly this was a troubled youth, why in the world would you give an AR-15 to a 14-year-old with this kind of mental health history and the concerns that surrounded this child? If they indeed were concerned about homicidal and suicidal ideations, the child should not have been allowed to go to school. That much should have happened. I think we're going to find out a lot more. Now, maybe there's another side to this that we don't know, but this is very, very, very concerning to hear this information that the shooter, the parents, and the family members all knew something was up. How many times how are we going to have this kind of thing where it happens and then everybody says, yeah, we knew something was up. Oh, yeah, we all knew this was the kid that would, climb the tower. We all knew this was the kid that would cause problems. How in the world do you end up giving a kid like that an AR-15 at 14? And how in the hell do you not have an immediate conference with the school? And, if the school had any kind of, thoughtful process here, they would have said, I'm sorry, we can't let that kid come to school until his head is in a better place. This child needs help right away. If there are suicidal or homicidal ideations, why would you send the child to school? Why would you allow that to happen? It's apparently a very bad home situation from all accounts. and everybody, saw it coming. I want to mention one other thing. One of the things that happened that was right during the shooting is that as soon as the shooting began, one of the staff members at the school punched a panic alarm that they carry on their ID. We've actually talked about this being possible. Again, from the Tennessee Star, and I talked to Mark Pody about this, the Tennessee General Assembly last year provoked a change within the Tennessee Department of Education that allows school districts in the volunteer state to purchase ID badges for teachers which contain buttons to request rapid response from school administrators, a nearby SRO, or request an immediate law enforcement response. Such a system was created by the company Syntegex, I believe it's Syntegex, at the high school at Winder, Georgia last Wednesday. Advocates of the technology reportedly told NBC that the adoption of the panic alarm system likely saved countless lives, as the system allowed educators and staff members to notify police of the situation using their identification badge. According to the outlet, the badges contain buttons that will notify authorities about an active situation. Senator Mark Pody, Republican of Lebanon, led a successful push to make such technology in Tennessee available, beginning when he told the folks at the Star he planned to file legislation that would allow the purchase of similar identification badges. You can imagine it's something like a lanyard that a teacher would wear with an ID, with their picture in classroom. It would have 3 buttons on it. He was on our air talking about this very thing. This is a good technology. And if you want to know, moments matter in a situation like this. And even if you have an SRO on school, it's going to take a few moments for that SRO to get there and get an assessment of the situation. And so letting everybody know in a hurry that you need to consider a lockdown, this is not a drill, no doubt saved lives. And I love the fact that this technology exists, and I think that every school district within the sound of my voice should consider something like this if you really want to make sure that the kids have a fighting chance in a situation like this. 21 past the hour, 4 o'clock. I've been talking about King Insurance in Brentwood for some time now, and you know that they're an independent agency, and you also know my feeling, and very strong on this, that, an independent agency is what you really need. Why? Well, because they don't have to just take one product off the shelf that they offer. They can basically go out there and shop around, make sure that they're getting the best deal for you, and weed out the non-competitive companies. And here's the other thing. As an independent agency, they give great customer service. And, how many times have you ever tried to deal with insurance companies that sell insurance on the internet? You call that number, you can be there for hours waiting for some human to get on the line. When you call this number, 615-329-8121, you don't reach a call center, you get an actual person. Multi-policy discounts, they're known for them. They really can offer you 20, 25, 30, 35%. Huge savings if you bundle. So why don't you get your royal review with King & Associates Insurance? Just log on to tkinginsurance.com. That's tkinginsurance.com. King Insurance & Associates, royal treatment at great rates.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Discussions underway right now that could bring major changes to street parking in Nashville, and Hollywood mourning the loss of a man whom you knew by his iconic voice. These stories and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
That's a great loss.
Yeah.
James Earl Jones. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, what a great voice, what a wonderful presence, and what a tremendous loss. I mean, if you grew up like I did, watching all the Star Wars movies, you had to have an appreciation for. Yeah, he the guy who played Darth Vader in the suit was not the guy who did the voice, of course. James Earl Jones was not in the suit, but that voice. It was so perfect.
Absolutely,
I am your father, Luke. I am your father. Good stuff. I hope that's not like a spoiler for somebody. I mean, I think everybody knows that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody. What do you mean? He's not actually in the suit?
No, he's not actually in the suit. That's right. I want to take you to Springfield, Ohio, which I thought was a nice little community, and I'm sure it is, about 60,000 people. But the city of Springfield, Ohio, I had not heard this before, has apparently been overwhelmed by introducing roughly 20,000 Haitian illegal immigrants. So the population has gone from 60 to 80,000, and 20,000 of them are now illegal migrants from Haiti. Which, that's a culture shock. I've been to Haiti. It ain't anything like Springfield, Ohio, which I've also visited. So, I can understand how this might be a cultural shock, but listen to this. During an August 27th city commission meeting, one local resident said that Haitians were in the park grabbing ducks and cutting their heads off and eating them. Yeah, I mean, and they have pictures of what appear to be Haitian migrants carrying dead ducks down the street. One under each arm. And now the allegation has been made that also some pets have gone missing. And so there, I remember. This is true. I lived in Amarillo when I was, about 23, 24 years old. Bought a house on sort of the rough part of town. It was my first house. And I think I paid $23,000 for it. That tells you how much, wasn't much of a house. But I had some nice neighbors, and it was my first investment, and I was very excited about it. And there were a lot of Vietnamese moving in. Now, look, I mean, I think that when you look at the Vietnamese story, tremendous. They came to this country, and within one generation, they were finding great success. But there was a culture shock when they first arrived. And the joke, and it really wasn't so much of a joke, is you couldn't find any living bird in East Amarillo because they would eat birds and other critters. So no critters survived there for a while, and eventually, they came to understand, no, that's not the way things are done in America, and they became great citizens, and they are even today a great part of that community. I'm not saying that they didn't make the adjustments, but it is an adjustment. So ducks gone, pets apparently are missing. Tensions came to a boil, according to the ZeroHedge.com. Last year, when an illegal immigrant from Haiti caused a school bus crash, killing 11-year-old Aiden Clark after the child was thrown out of the emergency exit as the bus rolled off the road. Another 20 students were injured. Springfield has seen a surge in population through immigration that has significantly impacted our ability as a community to produce enough housing and opportunities for all. Why am I telling you this story? Because it was the Biden administration which did this.
That is why, also, starting with our administration, we gave TPS, temporary protected status, to Haitian migrants, 55,000. And then more recently, we extended temporary protected status to over 100,000 Haitian migrants for that very reason, that they need support, they need protection.
They needed support. They needed protection. But what about the people of Springfield, Ohio? What protection did they get? 30 minutes now past the hour.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And in entertainment news, actor James Earl Jones has died. Although he began his acting career in the late 50s, younger audiences will remember his voice acting, most notably as...
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
As Darth Vader in the Star Wars films. James Earl Jones, dead at the age of 93 today. Right now in Nashville, NDOT is in a meeting where officials are discussing major changes under consideration that could bring lower prices and more parking availability. Channel 4 says new rules would allow for street parking for up to 10 hours a day. Lower economy pricing being discussed for the Edge Hill area. A final vote on this matter could come next month. Kentucky authorities say accused highway shooter Joseph Couch still not in custody. He allegedly shot 7 people on I-75 in Laurel County. This is south of Lexington, Saturday night. Authorities say they have the gun he used, ammunition, and the vehicle he abandoned, but still no sign of him. All the victims going to survive. And right now on Wall Street, here's Darielle Binger.
Stocks bounce after one of their worst weeks in nearly a year and a half. The Dow soared 484 points, the Nasdaq added 194, and the S&P closed 63. We'll get 2 key reports on inflation this week, starting with the Consumer Price Index on Wednesday, which measures what we're paying for just about everything month to month. And year over year, it'll be followed a day later by the Producer Price Index, which measures hiring on the wholesale level before it reaches consumers. There are also 2 of the final bits of information the Federal Reserve will get before its next meeting, which could end with a cut in interest rates. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration wants the auto industry to design new vehicles, including SUVs and pickup trucks, so they reduce pedestrian injuries and deaths. It's proposing a new rule which limits the size of the vehicles, which have grown in height of the hood and in width and causes blind spots.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, listen, a question from the folks over at Beacon Capital Management. Are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? This is important. It may be hard to believe, but many hardworking Americans just like you might overpay on taxes in retirement if you're not careful. You may be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, other tax-deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management here to give you peace of mind. With the threat of massive tax increases just around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement, don't wait a moment longer. Schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call this number. Ready? Write it down. 615-488-9303. or visit askbeaconnow.com. That's askbeaconnow.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. 38 minutes past the hour, 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Let's get you home safely and make sure that on the way we give you some news and information you can use. It is Brian Wilson. It is Chris Weber. It is Ken Weaver. Wilson, Weaver, and Weber all together again in the afternoons. People say, well, what happened? When did Ken Weaver move over to afternoons? And I say, man, you got to keep up.
Start listening more often.
That's right. Look, it's been a while. No, he's with us now.
He wasn't waking up in time.
No, I know, because you were when I was on mornings. You are a creature of habit.
Yes,
and I am too. I mean, but I, for example, I never allow myself to arrive in the studio minimum 3 hours before the show.
Right.
It's got to be. I mean, by noon, I got to be in the studio because I need that much time to prep. And Ken, being the professional that you are, you were that way too. You would always show up, and Chris, he'd roll in at the last second, like. But you didn't really have. Your job doesn't require as much prep.
That's true. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. But
plus I'm just that good. I mean,
he's just that dang good. That's right.
At the last second.
Brother Chris, he'd just roll in and plug it in.
That's right. I'd look up, empty. Last minute, headphones in, ready to go.
There's the music.
That's
We're
right.
live, baby.
That's right. A lot of local news and state news that I want to sort of hit for a moment or two. This is, you may remember, January 2023, Tyree Nichols, age 29, died after a traffic stop, and this became a big story. And really, there were 3 officers who seemed to be responsible for this man's death. All I can tell you is We've seen the tape. We've seen the video because there were body cam made available of all of this. Tyree Nichols, that trial is now beginning in Memphis. The trial of Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justice Smith, 3 officers who, according to police and according to what we saw with our own eyes, really beat the crap out of this guy. Nichols, 29, died several days after the traffic stop. Nichols repeatedly walking around. Nichols, after violently striking Nichols, the officers were seen walking around talking to each other as Nichols was injured and sitting on the ground. His fatal beating triggered protesting calls for police reform in Memphis. The medical examiner's official autopsy report for Nichols showed he died of brain injuries from blunt force trauma. The district attorney's office told the Nichols family in 2023. 5 former officers were charged, including Bean, Haley, and Smith, who are now on trial and have pleaded not guilty, as well as Desmond Mills Jr. and Emmett Martin III, who have pleaded guilty to some of the federal charges. Bean, Haley, and Smith accused of violating Nichols' civil rights through excessive use of force, unlawful assault, failing to intervene in the assault, failing to render medical aid, and conspiring to engage in misleading conduct by attempting to falsify or intentionally withholding details of the arrest in statements and to a supervisor. Police claim that Nichols was pulled over. The officers had claimed that Nichols was pulled over for reckless driving, though the Memphis police chief, Sarah Lynn Davis, said she was unable to substantiate that. While Nichols' mother had said the first responders told her son was drunk and high, the autopsy report showed his blood alcohol level was at .049. The district attorney's office told the family that was well less than the legal limit to drive. So there was alcohol in his bloodstream, but he was not drunk. If convicted of the 2 counts in the indictment, carries a maximum penalty of life in prison, while the other 2 carry a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison, according to the Department of Justice. So that is undergoing now, just beginning jury selection in Memphis, and again, this trial. I mean, we can hope for the best, but the concern is that it may inflame passions that were once, pretty tense situation there in Memphis for a while. Here you go. This is something. Normally it's pot. But this time, it was something more. An Arizona man flew into Nashville last week with more than 50 pounds of fentanyl, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Yusuf Ibn Abdul Habar Hunter, 23, of Phoenix, arrived at Nashville International Airport Thursday, September 5th. DEA agents in Nashville learned that Hunter made his travel arrangements shortly before the flight and had checked luggage that contained illegal drugs, according to a release. Once the plane landed, a trained drug detection dog reportedly alerted on Hunter's luggage. The attorney's office reported Hunter consented to a search of his luggage, and agents found hundreds of blue pills stamped M30, markings to make them look like the prescription oxycodone, but indeed a field test confirmed the pills contained fentanyl. In total, the pills reportedly weighed more than 50 pounds. So, again, DEA, local law enforcement, and the folks out at the airport have a pretty good record. I mean, well, you wonder, are they just that good, or is there so much stuff coming through the airport that they're only catching a fraction? But I think it's the other. I think they work this hard out there at the airport, and hardly a week goes by that we don't see something like this. But fentanyl. That's a different game than what we normally see. We normally see people arriving from Los Angeles or somewhere in California with a load of pot in their suitcase. This time, it was fentanyl. Other news from around the state. The Duck River could become the Muck River because apparently it's very dry. I don't know. I just made that up. But they do have drought in the Duck River, and they say that the Duck River watershed is undergoing extreme drought conditions. And that's why people over in like Spring Hill, etc., are asking folks who live along the Duck River to voluntarily conserve water. This is coming at the request of the Duck River Agency. I didn't know there was one. The Duck River Agency, the DRA, DRA. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, portions of the Duck River watershed are in extreme drought conditions, and the city of Spring Hill in the area is in moderate drought. So they're asking that you don't water your lawn, you don't fill up your swimming pool or your hot tub, you don't do irrigation. They've even asked people on construction sites not to use water as they often do to keep the dust at bay. And they say this will help protect the ecosystem of the Duck River. So difficult times along the old Duck. And, the Duck River, it seems like it's either feast or famine. I mean, there are times where the Duck River flows outside of its banks on a pretty regular basis and causes flooding, low-level flooding. But that is the opposite of what's going on right now. Not local, but I think this is an interesting story. What do you think about this? Listen to this. I'm going to do this backwards because I think it's pretty interesting. Donald Trump, when he was president, spent about 26% of his presidency on personal trips. Okay? While Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama took vacations during approximately 11% of their two-term presidencies. Jimmy Carter, in his single term, only took 79 days off. But guess how much time Joe Biden has spent on vacation during his presidency? You got any ideas?
Seems like it's about 50-60%.
Well, you're a little high, but I mean, it's pretty remarkable when you think about it. Joe Biden has spent 40.3% of his presidency on vacation. So now it's good work if you can get it. Be nice, to to have 40% of, to only work 60% of the time. Now, again, every president has the ability to work wherever they are. If he's at the house in Delaware, or if he's at the beach, Rehoboth Beach, he's got a place there. They have the ability to do work from home, and no president is completely ever away from the job. They do say that. But it seems that Joe Biden far outstrips what other presidents have done with regard to that. 40.3% of his presidency spent on vacation.
It's a lot of chocolate chip ice cream.
I eat chocolate chip. He just got through with 16 days at Rehoboth, according to the Economic Times. It really is quite something when you look at what's happened to other people. 72% of registered voters believe Biden does not have the mental or cognitive health to serve as president at this time. I guess he needs a lot of time off because he's old. I guess that's what it is. I hate to be too critical. I don't like stories when they say, well, he took Air Force One and it cost a bunch of money to go do this. And, I always resist the effort to criticize, because it seems that every president, they sort of have to take Air Force One wherever they go, because that's, in the time of emergency, that's where that becomes the flying White House, and if you need to get in the air, you got to have the plane nearby. You can't, so everybody says, well, it's very expensive to fly Air Force One. I say, yeah, it is. But at the same time, that's just part of the job. You got to have Air Force One wherever you go, and you are entitled to time off. So I don't think that's fair. But I think it is fair to say, well, look, Trump took some time off. He took 26% of his vacation, about a quarter of his vacation. He was off, not completely off, but he wasn't at the White House. But, when you look, you're not that far from half of your presidency being done outside of Washington. And I think that is an abuse of the office. 50 minutes now past the hour. If you're a fan of Legend Steakhouse like I am, you can enjoy some of the flavors you get at the restaurant right at home on your very own grill. Take a walk down your local grocery store aisle, places like Walmart, Kroger, and look for Johnny Fleeman's very own brand of products. Johnny Fleeman's Marinade proprietary blend will give your steak, chicken, or chops a flavor that will hit a home run with family and friends. It's low in sodium, about a third of other brands, and you don't have to worry about over-marinating. When it comes to his honey mustard salad dressing, you could use it as salad dressing or a dipping sauce for your favorite chicken fingers, fresh cut veggies, or chips, a recipe used in his restaurant for over 35 years. If your favorite grocer isn't stocking Johnny Fleeman products, ask them to do so. For more information, go visit johnnyfleeman.com. And it goes without saying, for those times when you want someone else to do the cooking, they'll always be glad to see you at your nearest Legend Steakhouse for lunch or for dinner.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
A lawsuit has been filed that could impact the sale of products that provide a similar high to what you get from marijuana. We'll tell you about it at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, I just want to remind you that the big debate tomorrow, this could be it. Whatever happens in this debate could really determine the outcome of the election. I mean, I really believe that this debate, it's for all the marbles. And you definitely want to hang out with people who see the world the way you do for watching this debate. So why don't you join me and the guys out at Scoreboard Cedar Creek starting, I'll be there at 3 o'clock. I'll be there at 2 o'clock. But I won't go on the air till 3. And then Dan, Chris, and Matt will join me throughout the evening. The last debate was a great deal of fun. It was great hanging out with everybody, and I think we'll have another big day tomorrow. So that's Scoreboard Cedar Creek. You don't need tickets. Details at 997WTN.com, and I hope to see you there. 57 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so if your back is hurting you, and there's nothing worse than having your back hurt or some kind of thing in your shoulder, your neck, whatever it is. Listen, there's no way to solve this problem with pills or spinal creams. You gotta think about other options, and then there's two really that you will likely have to face if you have the pressure on your nerves causing you back pain. One is surgery. The other is non-invasive spinal decompression. I chose non-invasive, non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. In fact, I was just there the other day, and boy, I was feeling a little crick in my neck. They got me straightened out in about an hour. It was great. They have state-of-the-art facilities and high-tech equipment that offer the latest non-surgical techniques. Getting better is important to Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, so they are offering half-off spinal decompression treatments and half off the KT knee machine. Here's the deal. If you're a new patient, you show up, they will do an exam, take x-rays if necessary. They will consult with you. They'll come up with a plan of treatment, and you'll get your first treatment, and all of that is only $23. After that, remember, the non-surgical spinal decompression, half off. I'm Brian Wilson. I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville. So call them today at 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories this Monday afternoon. Tropical storm Francine is expected to become a Cat 1 hurricane by Wednesday. Now, this could provide some much-needed rain to Middle Tennessee toward the latter end of the week. We'll tell you more during the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, there is a lawsuit that could impact the sale of products that provide a similar high to what you get from marijuana, just not as intense. News 2 says hemp growers are suing the State Department of Agriculture, claiming new rules that the agency wants to impose unfairly hurts their industry. These new rules could impact the sale of Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10 THC products. This lawsuit looks to convince the court to block enforcement of the State Department of Agriculture's rules, which could start as early as October 1st. And in entertainment news today,
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Dave Packer, celebrating the life of James Earl Jones. Actor James Earl Jones has died. He was one of America's most versatile and distinguished actors, winning a host of awards, including a Tony Award and Golden Globe for his role on Broadway in The Great White Hope. Also earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor in the film version of that story. ABC entertainment reporter Chris Conley.
You think of him in some of the finest stage performances of his time in things like Othello and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, but so many wonderful movies as well, things like Sneakers and Matewan. So it's a phenomenal loss for the American cinema and a voice and an actor who will always be remembered.
And for many, Jones will best be known for this.
The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
The menacing voice of Darth Vader in the Star Wars saga. James Earl Jones was 93.
Yeah, nominations for one of the big country music award shows might be a little controversial, as we hear from Jason Nathanson.
At the CMA Awards nominations Monday morning, Morgan Wallen is the leading nominee with 7 nods. His I Had Some Help partner Post Malone snagged 4, significant because this year Malone made his first country album, but also making her first country album and shut out at the CMA Awards.
This ain't Texas.
Not one nomination for Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album and its songs, even though the album spent 4 weeks atop the Billboard Top Country Albums chart, making her the first black woman to do that.
And turning to sports. We now know the kickoff time for the Vols SEC opener on September 21st, 6:30 Middle Tennessee time. The Vols taking on conference newcomer Oklahoma in Norman. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, hour number 3 now kicking off here on the drive on this Monday, September 9th. A beautiful day outside, 83 degrees. I mean, really beautiful weather. Can't ask for better than that. And we're bringing you news and information you can use all the way until 7 o'clock tonight, when we will hand it off to Mark Levin. And we want to remind you again, big debate tomorrow. It's going to be a humdinger of a debate, I'm telling you. And so we're going to be out at Scoreboard in Mount Juliet, Scoreboard Cedar Creek, starting, well, I'll be there at 3 o'clock. Hope you'll come by and join us tomorrow. The guys will be showing up throughout I think last time, just sort of the way it worked, I started at 3 o'clock, and I think by 4:30 or so, Dan Mendes was walking in wearing this cowboy hat. He surprisingly looked pretty good in it.
Almost didn't recognize him.
I didn't recognize him at all. I mean, and actually, some people can wear a cowboy hat and some people cannot.
He said, "Which way to the bar, Pilgrim?"
But I'm telling you, just like I looked up and there's Dan Mendes. He's wearing a cowboy hat. But everybody starts rolling in. I mean, they'll come in at different times. You can't keep Matt Murphy away. I mean, he's going to be there early.
If there's somebody to talk to, he's going to find him.
He's a social butterfly is what he is. He really is. And he wants to be out there, and he wants to be shaking your hands and saying hello. And so, there's an opportunity to sort of hang out with us. And then at some point, all guys will be on the stage, all of Dan, Chris, Matt, and me together. And then we'll carry it up until about 7 o'clock. Right? You got it? Okay, good. This is going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there. I want to talk a little bit about the debate in a moment. But let's talk about some other, 2024 news, okay? And here's the thing. This is going to be a pretty interesting thing. I want to start with some numbers. And my sense of it is that the numbers have peaked and maybe you're starting to pull back just a little bit. I'm talking about Kamala Harris's numbers. Listen, when she first came onto the scene, I think Democrats were just apoplectic about it. Oh, thank goodness it's not going to be Joe Biden. Thank goodness it's not going to be Joe Biden. And then they were a little overenthused, I think. And I think as some Democrats now start to really focus on what she will bring to the table, I think that it's sort of the numbers are receding just a little bit. So here we go. By the way, in the last election, it was the New York Times Siena poll that was considered to be the most accurate, and that's what this is. So, New York Times Siena says in the general election poll, they have Trump up by 1, and only 5% of the electorate is undecided. So that's a little better than it's been because, I've seen some polls out there where Harris is up by 3. New York Times Siena poll says Trump up by 1. And look, the Democrats operate under this sort of rule of thumb. I'm going to tell you a little Democrat secret here. They operate under the rule of thumb that unless you're at least 3 points ahead, you're behind. Because the numbers have always, let's just put it that way. Trump's numbers they always underestimate his following. So they know that the numbers can be off by about 3 points. So if Trump is up by 1, he may actually be up by 4. That's the way to look at this. Okay, so here we go. New York Times, Trump up by 1, 5% of the electorate undecided. Now, those 5%, people always say, well, how do they miss it so bad? They'll miss it by 5, 6, or 7%. I'll say, yeah, because 5% of the electorate is undecided to the last moment. So that's entirely possible. Harvard-Harris has it tied. That just happened to be another poll that came out. But look at the New York Times poll. Now, the internals of this poll are fascinating. Trump gets 4% of the Democrats. Harris gets 5% of the Republicans. Independents split up the middle, each side getting 48%. Before, Trump has had a sort of an advantage among independents, and I think he will eventually, by Election Day, get more of those people back. But right now, it's dead up the middle. You have to understand that Harris is bogged down by the poor performance numbers of Joe Biden. She is tied to that administration, and according to the New York Times, 47% of those who were polled found that they were disapproved of Joe Biden's performance as president. Here's some interesting stuff. 59% of those who were surveyed said that they believe Kamala will bring you more of the same. Well, how does this work out? If 59% believe that Kamala will bring us more of the same kinds of policy, and 47% of those who were surveyed disapprove of Joe Biden's performance, that doesn't bode well, does it? Seems to me. 53% of those who were surveyed say they see Trump as an agent of change, someone who will come in and change the policy. To some degree, Kamala Harris is still an unknown entity to many voters. 68% of voters said, that's better than 2/3 of voters, said that they really need to know more about what she believes, what her positions are. Only 28% believed that they needed more information about Donald Trump. I mean, he's a much more known entity than is Kamala Harris. And I want to point one other thing that just jumped out at me. Earlier in the year, when it was Joe Biden running for the Democrats, the Republicans had a big lead in the so-called enthusiasm gap. Our people were much more excited about going to the polls. But right now, Democrats, Republicans, it's dead even. Each side, about 63% say they are enthusiastic about going to the polls. All right? So the enthusiasm gap, where we had more enthusiasm than they did, is gone. The debate tomorrow, the rules, muted microphone. Biden campaigns had pushed for muted microphones in the CNN debate, a rule change that appeared actually to help Trump in their face-off ahead of the ABC News debate. The Harris campaign attempted to reverse the rule to have microphones live throughout the debate, but Trump campaign said the rules would not be renegotiated, even as Trump said he did not mind having the microphones live throughout. ABC confirmed last week that the microphones will only be live for the candidate whose turn it is to speak and muted when the time belongs to another candidate. Questions and responses. ABC News' David Muir and Lindsay Davis will ask the candidates questions during the debate. The rule states the candidate are not permitted to ask questions of each other. ABC News has said there will be no opening statements, but that each candidate will get 2 minutes to close. Harris will get the first closing statement. Trump will get the final word after he won a coin flip to select either the placement or the podium, the placement of the podium or closing statement. Doesn't matter. Podiums, it doesn't matter. You want to have the last word. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer questions, 2 minutes for rebuttals, and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses, according to ABC News. Let's go through that again. That's pretty important stuff right there. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer questions, 2 minutes for rebuttals, and 1 minute follow-up or clarifications or responses, according to ABC News. The outlet has also said that no topic or questions will be given to either of the campaigns ahead of the debate. This will be held at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, because Pennsylvania is the swingiest of all swing states this year. No audience present during the debate. Harris will be at the podium on the right side of the screen. Trump will be on the podium on the left side of the screen. Both candidates will enter the debate stage from opposite sides of the stage and will be introduced by Muir and Davis. Harris will enter first, as the Democrats are the incumbent party in the White House. Both candidates will stand behind their podiums throughout the debate. Muir and Davis will be seated at the podium. Both candidates will have a pen, a pad of paper, a water bottle, but neither will be allowed to bring pre-written notes or props to the podium. Other rules: the debate will be 90 minutes long with 2 commercial breaks, as was seen at the CNN debate. During the 2 commercial breaks, campaign staff will not be allowed to interact with the candidates. That's interesting. ABC News has also said the moderators will seek to enforce timing agreements and ensure a civilized discussion. The debate will air on ABC, along with ABC News Live, Disney Plus, Hulu. Live simulcast for the debate will also be available on CBS, Fox, NBC, and PBS, along with various cable networks, including C-SPAN, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and News Nation. I mean, it's going to be hard to avoid it. If you didn't want to watch it, tough luck. That's about all that's going to be on. The debate is scheduled to begin at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock our time. So we will go up till 8 o'clock with our live broadcast, and then we will carry the debate. As I understand it, it'll be non-commercial. We will not run commercials. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
That is correct, yeah. Another presidential debate between Harris and Trump has not been agreed to, but vice presidential candidates Tim Walz and J.D. Vance have agreed to debate on October 1 over at CBS. So we'll have one more debate, but it'll be the vice presidential debate, which, really, quite frankly, doesn't carry as much weight as the others. All right. Bernie Sanders, this weekend on the Sunday talk shows over at NBC, Beat the Press, he said words that everybody knows to be true. It's just that I'm surprised that he actually said the quiet part out loud. He was asked by Kristen Welker, okay, Kamala Harris, she's done a lot of flipping, she's done a lot of flopping. It's like, a big bass that's brought in and flopping around on the boat deck, She just flips and flops and flips and flops. Nothing that she has had strong opinions about in the past seems to be all with her anymore. And so Kristen asked Bernie Sanders, do you still consider her a progressive?
She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
Wow! I can't believe he actually said it. It's true. He says, look, basically what he's saying is she's the kind of candidate that just, decides her position based on what she thinks you want to hear. But I keep having real problems with this thing that she said in the interview over at CNN when she was asked about some of these things. How can you say that you were, against fracking, hard against fracking, and now you're for fracking? How can you say, you think that universal health insurance, Medicare for all, is the right way to go, and now you say you no longer hold these positions? You feel very strongly about making sure that that the borders were open, but now you say you want to see the borders closed. How can you flip and flop like that? And she says, well, my beliefs haven't changed. Well, your positions, if you have any kind of integrity at all, are based on your beliefs, are they not? I mean, if you have beliefs and you say they haven't changed, then how can you say your positions have changed? Because your positions are based on your beliefs, right? Your moral compass, however it is. I don't understand how you can say my beliefs haven't changed, but my positions have. Well, I am hoping that David Muir and Lindsay will be asking these questions tomorrow. Will they? I don't know. More in just a moment, 20 minutes past the hour.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
A lawsuit that could impact retail sales of products that provide marijuana-like high in Tennessee, and major changes to parking and prices and availability to downtown Nashville being discussed. These stories and more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 25 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7, just 10 minutes away from the uber popular. I mean, it is a big fan favorite. I've talked to people over the weekend, and they all said, oh, I tell you, we really enjoy the return of the Three Amigos.
That's good to know. Glad
that is good. Yeah,
I mean, it's getting good reception.
People like it. People like it a lot.
That's job security, boys.
That's that's right. And so that's at 5:35 every day. I mean, so now here's the thing. If you have to leave, at some point, maybe you listen in at 3 o'clock, come back at 5:35.
Swing back around.
Swing back around. That's
Circle
right.
back, shall we?
That's right.
Let's not do that.
So here we go. Some more news. Here's Frank Luntz. Now, we took calls on this, and it was interesting. Most everybody seemed to think that the right strategy for Trump and the debate is to sort of lay low, maybe not be quite his usual jubilant self, to sort of play rope-a-dope, not be too aggressive, let her hang herself. Here's what Republican pollster, and listen, they call him a Republican pollster, and I guess he does run some poll. He's really a communications expert. What Frank Luntz does is he's the master of the focus group. He brings people in and he says, okay, and he hones a message. He says, these words resonate with people. These words do not. This issue resonates with people. This issue does not. It can be very helpful because he's talking to actual people, and it's very sophisticated stuff what Frank Luntz does. But he says Republican pollster Frank Luntz on Monday suggested former President Trump should focus on helping voters rather than himself, following the former president's recent threat to legally target individuals he has accused of fraud in the 2020 election. He reposted on X. Luntz said he has never seen a candidate more determined to blow an election. And occasionally Trump does have that ability to sort of say the thing that irritates people. Instead of talking about affordability and immigration security, Trump is once again screaming about prosecuting his opponents. Message to Donald: focus on helping voters, not yourself. This according to thehill.com. So, look, Frank Luntz, it's good advice. I do think when you look back at how he handled Joe Biden masterfully. He really did. You could not have had a better debate than the one he had. He laid back. He did not interrupt. He did not present the thing that he does is sometimes a little bombastic. He just laid it out there. People get mad at me and say, well, he has every right to be angry. He has every right to be irritated. And I agree with you on that 1,000%. But that's not what you got to do to win. I just told you a minute ago that the numbers are tied. Independent numbers are tied evenly. You've got to think everything that comes out of your mouth, you sort of have to calculate this. How is this going to resonate with independent voters? I mean, he's already got your vote. You're not going anywhere. But it's the independent voters that will make or break this campaign. He really needs to think it even perhaps more in a more restricted way. How is this going to resonate with independent voters in the battleground states? That's what he has to think. Every word that comes out of his mouth, he's got to have that run. It's got to run through that calculation. And I think he did great. He did fantastic with Biden. But Kamala Harris, let's be honest, she's got a few more brain cells working, not many, but a few, and she'll be a more difficult person. She has some oratorical skills. She also has the ability to talk in circles, and she's pretty known for that. If she talks in circles, I hope that that Trump brings out that line that he used so effectively on Biden. I don't know what she just said. Do you know what she just said? I don't think she knows what she just said, because that would be so effective with her. But it's got to be interesting, and I think that the sense that most people have is he's got to come in a little, just a tad muted, and it'll work out great, just great. Coming up after the news, the ever-popular Three Amigos right now. Time for the news at 5:30.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Tropical storm Francine is prompting some mandatory evacuations now in parts of Louisiana's Gulf Coast. In fact, the storm expected to become a Cat 1 hurricane by Wednesday. It could help Tennessee out with its drought condition toward the latter part of the week. We'll tell you about it during the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, a lawsuit by the hemp industry against the State Department of Agriculture. News 2 says the industry's trying to block enforcement of rules it says the agency illegally adopted because it declared an emergency to try to get around public input. These new rules could impact retail sales of hemp-derived products like Delta 8, Delta 9, and Delta 10 THC that provides what some say is a lesser marijuana high. Right now in Nashville, major changes to parking and prices and availability are being discussed. Channel 4's Brendan Tierney reports.
These changes give people the options to pay more to stay in a spot beyond the current 2 or 3 hour limit. When the new 24/7 parking enforcement started in 2023, people who live and work downtown say the changes designed to force street parking space turnover were a major headache and made them turn to garages instead. NDOT says the new rules would allow cars to street park for up to 10 hours a day. People are hoping it'll help the current parking nightmare. There are other parts of town like Edge Hill where NDOT says there's less demand for paid parking, so they're considering adding new lower economy parking rates of around half the price.
Yeah, the NDOT Parking and Traffic Commission expected to vote on this matter next month. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Let me talk to you about United Structural Systems. They've been around here since 1994, more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. I'll just tell you, I've had this experience just recently. I had them come out to look at a couple of things at my house, and we're going to be having some work done here in the days ahead. But it was just an absolutely pleasant experience. I mean, the people come out are really smart. They really know their stuff. And here's what they do. They look around. They show you, they look at the thing that you're concerned about. They maybe look at some other stuff you haven't thought about, and they give you a very comprehensive report of what's going on with your house. Your most, by the way, important investment, right? And then if they lay it all out for you, say, here's option 1, option 2, option 3. Here are the things that you can do, and then you don't have to pay a penny until you decide which jobs you want them to do, and the job is complete. That's the way it works. So if you got a foundation issue, you got waterproofing issue, this is the way you go about it. Concrete leveling, they are really good at that. If you have sinking slabs or patio steps, or maybe a sidewalk that is shifted or a patio that is shifted, it's easier to fix it than it is to replace it. Don't replace it, raise it. 615-488-7855. Learn more by going to the website ussTN.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
There it is. 37 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Everybody's got their maracas, and we're ready for the Three Amigos. That's right. It's Ken Weaver in the newsroom, Chris Weber in the control room, and I am your friend and radio buddy. Together we make up the Three Amigos. And, we start out, we bring little stories that we found that we think you might find interesting. Not anything too serious, nothing, just something light. But then, we chew the fat.
Sounds disgusting.
It is. It really is. Again, where's that phrase come from? Chew the fat. That's
we got to look that up.
We got to look that one up. We came up with a first rattle out of the box earlier, and we never did really quite figure that one out.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
That didn't make any sense.
I gave up on that.
Chew the fat. That's been around for a long time. And so can I get I want to go first. I got a good one.
All right.
Is that okay?
Go ahead, yeah.
All right. So this is about a supermarket in Spain.
Okay.
I've never been to Spain, but I kind of like the music. And something called La Hora del Amor.
Uh-oh.
The hour of love, baby. Social media craze in Spain, where people are encouraged to seek out prospective partners in supermarkets with the help of a pineapple. Now, I have always heard that in America, that if you put a pineapple in your basket and you drive around, that's a sign that you are, well, let's say, you're a swinger.
You're in the lifestyle.
Yeah, you're in the lifestyle. I've always heard that. I don't know. I've never actually seen anybody walking around with an upside down pineapple in their grocery basket. But apparently, that is the thing. But in Spain, it's seen as, hey, I'm a single person and I'm looking for a partner.
Single and ready to mingle.
Single and ready to mingle.
Oh, my.
Yeah. In the city of Bilbao, northern Spain, police were reportedly called by workers after a flash mob of hopeful singles packed a Mercadona store and overwhelmed it. The crowd quickly dispersed when officers arrived and no one was arrested. The singles have been drawn to branches of the supermarket chain where it is claimed they can find romance if they visit between 7 and 8 p.m. and put a pineapple upside down in their basket.
Is this clothing optional during this hour or something?
Is that a pineapple in your basket, or are you just happy to see me?
Oh, my.
There's a run on pineapples.
Well, apparently they have run out of pineapples sometimes.
Yeah.
People are then encouraged to go to the wine aisle to find others with the same fruit in the same position. Now, if you like someone, you bump your basket against theirs. I'm not making this up.
Bumping baskets.
That's not all they're going to be bumping for the night's over. That's right. You get my drift. Indicating that you are interested in chatting with them. If the feeling is mutual, they can bump back or just start talking.
What the hell is with the bumping?
Now, get this. For example, there are other things you can put in your trolley that sort of helps refine what you're looking for. If someone spots chocolates or sweets, it means they're looking for a long-term relationship. If you have lettuce in your basket or legumes, and then you're looking for something a bit more casual.
What about wieners and chili?
That's stay the hell away from me. You don't want none of this. That's what that means.
A big old case of Coors Light.
In some places, apparently, it's not pineapples, it's watermelons. But apparently this has become a thing in Spain.
That's weird.
And, when in Spain, I guess, I don't know. It's you're supposed to be single when you go there.
Interesting.
Well, let's hope you are anyway.
That's right.
Well, I got something to look forward to Sunday.
Just see, some guy walking around ramming into people's carts, just to see what kind of reaction
what
he
if you
gets.
just happened to want a pineapple?
Exactly.
And didn't know about all
accidentally bumped into.
That's right.
What, Punch? I'll tell you what, people were mean at the grocery store today, bumping into me left and right.
I don't know what it was. It's something to do with my
Followed me out of
pineapple.
the car.
Where's that cleaver? I need to cut this pineapple.
That's right. All right, that's mine. What do you guys got?
Go ahead, Brother Chris.
All right, I'll ask you guys a question. How do you feel about these eating contests? We see Joey Chestnut, the Mr. Hot Dog King, and I guess he does other eating, those competitive eating things.
Yeah.
I don't like it, personally.
Well, I've done it one time.
Really?
Yeah, years ago as a reporter in Mobile. That's how long ago it was. I was a reporter down there. And they signed me up for a Girl Scout cookie eating contest at the mall.
Well, now that.
Well, yeah.
That's different.
But they were my least favorite cookie.
Oh, you didn't get to choose the flavor?
I know. You don't get to choose the flavor at all.
That's just not fair.
And so they gave me those pecan sandy things, which are...
Ooh, those are dry.
First of all, yeah, they're dry. And number two, I hate pecans.
Oh, that's right.
I hate nuts of any kind. And I don't
Especially
eat nuts.
in your sweets.
Yeah, and that's right. It's a texture thing. It's also a taste thing. I just don't like pecans. If you say, how could you be from Texas and not like pecans?
Well,
but I don't. And I came in second.
Wow.
I was beaten, yeah.
You soldiered through, though.
But I'm telling you,
performance, I guess.
it was not a pleasant experience. I felt pretty sick all day long.
Well, the reason I ask is just I find them disgusting to watch, much less participate in when they're just hammering down hot dogs or whatever it is.
Because they just soak them in water, right?
Yeah, they're just slobbering and regurgitating left and right.
It's just
nasty.
not a pleasant looking thing. But this one, I saw this story and I thought, Ken, you may actually be interested in something like this.
Okay.
You had his rapt attention.
Yeah, this is pretty good. This was out of Michigan, and a man won a year of free hot wings.
Okay.
By winning this competition. And it was who can drink 24 ounces of ranch dressing the fastest? So they get a whole bottle of ranch dressing, and then all the contestants line up, 3, 2, 1, go, and then they just start chugging.
I'd give it a shot.
And he did it in 13 seconds.
13 seconds?
Yeah. He was the fastest one to do it.
I think that could be dangerous with ranch dressing. I mean, that could get in your windpipe, and it may not clear.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get that down the wrong hole. That's for sure.
And it depends on who'd be doing the resuscitation efforts.
But anyway, the guy, he wanted
I love ranch dressing.
Oh, I do too.
He was the fastest out of these 12 contestants. I wouldn't do it. I'm not a big ranch fan, much less drinking 24 ounces of ranch. But he got free wings every Wednesday until spring and a $100 gift card to the restaurant. So,
yeah.
You know.
Probably dips it in blue cheese, not ranch. But he just had to get those wings. I don't know if I could. I don't know how long it would take me to down 24 ounces of ranch.
To me,
dressing.
It's one thing to dip a wing or whatever else in some ranch or to eat it on a salad.
Yeah.
But when you're drinking the liquid itself, I don't know if I could keep it down. It would.
It'd be fun to watch, though.
I don't think it would. I'll say this. I watched a part of a hot wing eating contest one time, and I think this was like in Philadelphia or something, so they were serious.
Yeah.
And there was this big old boy. He was just hammering away at him.
Yeah.
And he lost control, and it started coming back up the other way.
Oh, no.
Now, I'm out. I mean, and this is on camera. The camera's right in his face, and they're coming out just as fast as they went in. And I said, I'm out, guys. I can't do this.
Well, see, you got to be careful of chicken bones, too. I mean, that could be
rough,
dangerous.
Yeah. You got to clean those bones. Yeah. Strip them good.
Although I have found a way to strip a chicken bone real fast.
Yeah. Well, what is your favorite flavor? Because, I love a good chicken wing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the drums. I don't like the wing.
Oh, see, I like the flat, as they can, the two-boned one. I like that. That's better to me, the actual wing. Yeah.
But what's your favorite flavor?
Just the old-fashioned buffalo to me is hard
buffalo.
to
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, buffalo's good.
Teriyaki's pretty strong.
Teriyaki.
Barbecue.
Barbecue? Can't go wrong with that. Yeah. I'll tell you one I'd like that's a little bit different is lemon pepper.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's good.
I'll tell you what, there's an outfit down there in Murfreesboro. I think they tie their chickens to tractor tires because those wings, they are huge.
Fat and sassy.
Big old fat, muscly wings.
That's what you like right there.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. That's pretty good. So, Ken, you're up.
All right. So, last week, Joan had actually left me this story, and I didn't have time to bring it up.
Does she know that we do this? She knows all about the Three Amigos, and she's...
I don't know. Well, she's been doing it in the mornings.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, but I don't know if
they don't call it the Three Amigos. We got that back.
Yeah, they're calling it they're calling it the Gang of Four. That's what they're calling it in the mornings.
Well, who's the fourth? First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't know who's.
No. That's at 8:35.
Okay. What about at 5:30?
I don't know what they're calling it because I'm asleep.
I'm sure as hell not going to get up early to find out.
We're all asleep.
Asleep at 5:30.
I'm interested, but not that interested.
But anyway, this story came up, and I thought it was interesting, the response from the company that wants to impose this. In fact, they are going to impose it, and this is PricewaterhouseCoopers is going to start tracking where its employees in the United Kingdom work in a bid to dial back its current work-from-home culture. So they're going to start tracking their workers to make sure they're not, taking advantage of the hybrid policy. What caught me is I liked the response from the company whenever they were, asking what would happen if, they find somebody might be taking advantage of it.
They're like on the beach in Hawaii or something. Yeah.
The response is, well, if the monthly data shows someone is consistently breaching the policy, we'd first want to understand the reasons why. In other words, that's your first strike. The second strike might be suspension. Then the third strike is going to be, you're out of there. But again,
Well, what difference does it really make?
Exactly. Are they doing their job? That's the number one thing.
Are they making their numbers? Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are they sloughing off? I mean, does it really matter if you're getting the work done?
Exactly. If the work's getting done, exactly, and money's rolling in, I don't know, man. I'd leave it alone, but I don't know. Maybe PricewaterhouseCoopers having a problem.
Companies just think whatever they're getting out of you now, they feel like they need to get more out of you. And they feel like, I think, if they're doing this much at home on their own, if we bring them back into the office and crack the whip, then we'll get even more production out of them. I don't think that's so. I think it's going to be the opposite.
In fact, there's some studies that show that people who work from home, and I think those people are slackers, really, honest to be with. Those people who work from home, lazy bums. That's
probably sitting around chugging ranch dressing.
They've actually found that in many cases, people are more efficient. You know why? Because you get to work and you get to the water cooler, or you go over to the break room, and you start having a long conversation. And and it turns into a distraction. That when you're undistracted at home,
yes, sir,
that you can actually get more work done. I'm in favor of it.
You don't say.
I'm not in favor of my company tracking me. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
There's some places Ken Weaver goes that,
we don't want to know.
No.
All right. Well, actually, now we've opened up a whole can of worms. 51 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. Let me tell you about Grace Point Healthcare. Let me think. We talk about them all the time. Here's what you need to know. Grace Point Healthcare is a little different in that they're affordable. They'll provide comprehensive medical care, and they're convenient. It's medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Now, listen, a bunch of things you need to think about. If your kids are going back to school and they're getting in sports and they get physical, Grace Point wants you to know they provide complete physicals for kids of all ages. And if you're going on an international trip, you may need to get some immunizations. Grace Point offers complete travel immunization and is CDC certified for yellow fever and all other international immunization protocols. But this is the big deal. Because they will see you the same day, or in some instances the next day, you won't have to wait days or weeks to see a doctor. I mean, what good is having a doctor if you can't see them when you really need to see them? Grace Point Healthcare is modern medicine at your convenience, delivered the old-fashioned way, located on Main Street in Franklin. Here's the number, 615-599-6868 to set up your first appointment.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, did you know that gold is up 78% over the last 5 years and silver is up 99% in the same time period? Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar is losing its value. It's lost 25% of its value since 2020. Government-induced inflation is essentially stealing your wealth, and it doesn't seem that Washington, D.C. has any plans to stop. Gold and other precious metals can be a great shield against inflation theft. During an election year, the politicians will promise you that they'll rein in their spending, but it's all campaign talk. They can't stop, and they know it. This is why no matter who is in office, gold protects you from the D.C. spending sprees. Where do you go to get that protection? Well, you should reach out to my friends Kyle and Hannah at Nashville Gold and Coin. They will take great care of you and keep you informed about precious metals opportunities. So please act now and get your shield against out-of-control government spending. Just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com and set up your appointment today.
Six o'clock on the dot this Monday evening. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we're tracking a good chance for some much-needed rain the latter half of the week, courtesy of Tropical Storm Francine, which is expected to grow to a Cat 1 hurricane by Wednesday. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, there is a lawsuit that could impact the sale of products that provide a similar high to what you get from marijuana, just not as intense. News 2 says hemp growers are suing the State Department of Agriculture, claiming new rules the agency wants to impose are illegal because it didn't give plenty of time for public input, and it's going to hurt their industry. These new rules could impact the retail sale of Delta 8, Delta 9, and Delta 10 THC products. This lawsuit looks to convince the court to block the State Department of Agriculture's enforcement of these rules as early as October 1st. And have you noticed anything at the pumps lately?
Down another 5 cents a gallon in the past week. Americans are now paying 59 cents less for every gallon of regular unleaded on average than a year ago at this time. The nationwide average is now at $3.24 a gallon. Analysts say lower global oil prices, less demand from China, and less driving demand in the U.S. are all playing a role. The one exception, California, has seen prices inch up a bit because of some refinery problems.
That's Alex Stone reporting. Right now in Middle Tennessee, Gas Buddy says you're paying $2.80 per gallon. That's 62 cents cheaper than last year at this time. Right now in Nashville, NDOT is in a meeting where officials are discussing major changes under consideration to bring lower prices and more parking availability. Channel 4 says new rules would allow for street parking for up to 10 hours a day if folks want to pay more, or folks could pay lower, especially in the Edge Hill area, under one proposal being considered. A final vote on this matter may come next month. And one of America's great actors, James Earl Jones, has passed away.
To a generation of Star Wars fans, James Earl Jones was best known as the voice of Darth Vader.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Jones also provided the voice of Mufasa in Disney's hit animated film The Lion King.
Simba, I'm very disappointed in you.
In 1971, Jones earned a Best Actor Oscar nomination for playing a boxer in the film version of the play The Great White Hope. Born to a poor family in Mississippi, the man who would become famous for his voice actually overcame a stutter as a child.
I lucked out.
That is Bill Dill reporting. James Earl Jones passing away today at the age of 93. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Good evening. 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Hour number 4 of the drive for this Monday, September 9th, now underway. Still, I'm just outside for a moment, stretching my legs. It's a beautiful 80 degrees. I mean, just spectacular evening here in Middle Tennessee. Take full advantage of that. If you're on your way home right now, though, we're going to do something that we very rarely do. I don't know why we don't do it. It never has become a thing that we do. We generally do not open up the phone lines in the 6 o'clock hour. I don't know why. The people in the 6 o'clock hour, they have opinions. People who listen at 6, they got things to say.
They've been silenced up until now.
That's right. But now we're going to give you the opportunity to join us and to express yourself. Here's the thing. The big debate is tomorrow. And I have a question for you, and I want your best thoughts on this. If you were sitting down across the table from Donald Trump, and the Donald asked you, hey, got this big debate coming up with Kamala Harris tomorrow, what advice would you have for me? What would you say to him? What would you tell him? So share that idea with me. You know the number, it's 615-737-9986. Get on the hotline right now and get ready to express your thoughts. Again, it's an unusual thing in the 6 o'clock hour. We don't normally do this, but I think that there's a lot of you out there. Now, maybe you're somebody that, like I like to call you, you're a lurker. You've been lurking. You've been taking and taking and taking, but not giving back to the process. So, you know, if you're a first-time caller, that's great. 615-737-9986. The debate's going to be really important. I'll just give you my thoughts real quick, and then we'll take your thoughts. I think he needs to be less is more in this situation. Donald Trump has the ability to be a bit bombastic at times, and you know what? I don't care. I love his policies, and I'm going to vote for him, and I'm a big supporter of the things that he's done as president. I don't like the way sometimes he handles himself on the stage, but I sure like the way he runs the country. And so what I would say to you is, for a lot of people who you need to reach out to right now, you need to be a bit more muted than you might otherwise be. Just as my daddy used to say, you need to pull it in about 10-20%, and it'll be just fine. And I that's my best advice. She's going to try to provoke him, and so my advice is, don't take the bait. It's a trap. Remember Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. All right, we got some calls lined up. All the phone lines are full. April in Pulaski. You're our first 6 p.m. listener in a while to be on the air. What's your thought about, what would you say to Donald Trump about how he should handle the debate?
I agree with you 100% on what you said, but he stands to lose a lot of support from women if he is insulting toward her. I would suggest that he not be in the least insulting toward her. Let her, kind of like he did with Biden, let her kind of speak, and that will tell it all. But just don't be insulting.
I haven't thought about it from the gender standpoint, but you're right. Debating against a guy, you can mix it up with another guy. But, in a situation like this, how does that come across if you are really harsh to a woman? Is that, and I think your instinct on that is correct. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely, because women, even if women don't like her, they themselves will, I think be turned off toward that.
Yeah. All right, April, that's a good point. Thank you very much. Donna in Rockville is up next. Hello, Donna. You're on with Brian on the Drive. What would you say to Donald Trump if you had the opportunity?
Brian, I agree with you and the other caller. He has got to remain calm through this, because she's going to do everything to push his buttons. And I'm glad that they've got the mics off, because that way you can hear everything. And that way that will give Trump, I think it'll give Trump time to think about what she's saying, and he won't speak in the heat of the moment.
All right. Thank you, Donna. Appreciate it. Steve in Cookville, you're up next on the Drive. Steve, tell me, if you were sitting down across the table from Donald Trump and he said, well, Steve, give me your best advice. How should I handle this debate? What would you say?
I would say to him, borrow the phrase from Muhammad Ali: float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yeah. Look for that opportunity. Take the jab when it seems appropriate, but the rest of the time, play Mr. Nice.
Yes, sir. All
right, Steve. Thank you. He did that in the debate against Biden. He sort of laid back, and then when Biden, stuttered and stumbled, rather than be rude to him, he simply said, I don't know what he just said. I don't think he knows what he just said. And it was brutal. That was the moment that I think he won that debate, because he waited for the moment, took his jab, and it was all over with. But he's interesting. He said the other day, maybe I can pull that up while I'm listening to the next person. He said the other day that, you sort of have to feel it out. He said, everybody has a strategy until you get punched in the face. And then, you never know how it's going to go. He's also apparently made noise about it depends on how I'm treated by the moderators of the debate. He said, if I'm not treated fairly, I might have a different approach. James in Columbia, you're on with Brian on the Drive.
Yes, sir. I can fix Trump up with 6 words and eat her lunch all evening long. So why don't you do it now?
Yeah, you're talking about the fact that, okay, if you say you're going to do it, why don't you do it now? Since you're actually in charge, right?
Exactly.
Huh. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think that's a good one. And somebody said in the earlier round we did something similar to that every opportunity you have, you should identify her as Madam Vice President. Madam Vice President. Well, Madam Vice President, because every time you say Vice President, you are reminding people that she is connected to the current president. And I think that's along the same lines of what you're saying. Junior in Pulaski. It's a good day for Pulaski callers today. Junior, you're on with Brian on the Drive.
Hello, Brian.
What do you think?
So I think it's the bikini strategy, where you say enough to cover the subject, but don't be too long-winded, and so you can keep it interesting. And let Kamala have plenty of opportunity to put her foot in her mouth.
Yeah, and I think she will if you give her that opportunity. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for that. Hey, here's that soundbite from Trump about his debate strategy.
When I had Biden, you and I had the same discussion, and I let him talk. I'm going to let her talk because, you've all seen it. There are those that say that Biden is smarter than she is, okay? And if that's the case, we have a problem. But, debating's an interesting thing. I've been in many debates. I think I probably won because of debating, maybe. We had a lot of debates with the Republicans. Then we had Crooked Hillary. We had a lot of different people we had to debate. And we had some great debates. You do remember the Rosie O'Donnell debate. Remember Rosie O'Donnell? She's a real great one. Isn't she a great one? Anyway, but a debate is interesting. You can go in with all the strategy you want, but you have to sort of feel it out as the debate's taking place. I've seen it. You go in there and you have a strategy. Mike Tyson made the statement, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. It's true. It was a brilliant statement. It's a brilliant statement. So I could tell Sean exactly what I'm going to do, but, things change. It depends a lot on ABC. Will they be fair or not? If they're not going to be fair, I'm going to be a little bit different than if they are. I hope they're going to be fair. We're putting a lot of reliance on a network which is known for being extremely hostile to the people in this room and to, I think, 75-80% of the country, if you want to really know the truth.
So, it's not only the people, it's not only Kamala Harris who will be trying to push his button, but that the moderators will try as well. Jeremy in Columbia, you're up next on the Drive. What's your thought? What kind of advice would you have?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I think it's fair to say that she's going to have a pretty good idea of the questions that are going to be coming her way. So I think anytime President Trump is asked a question, he should answer it very quickly, yes, no, quick explanation, and then ask her a question and yield his time back to her.
Well, you know what? And the rules, we read these a little earlier, you may have missed it. They're not allowed to ask each other questions. That's part of the rules. Now, that doesn't mean they won't try, but they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to ask questions of each other. Which I think is really, I'd love to see that, because I think sometimes that's where you elicit the best answers. But that apparently is not going to be allowed in this particular debate. Now, I have seen debates where that was in the rules and that was just ignored. So, is this thing gonna devolve into a free for all? I don't get that sense. I think Trump is if he handles it sort of like he handled Biden, I think it will go well. Jeff in Columbia, you're up next on the Drive. What do you say, Jeff?
Well, they keep saying that he is having issues with the women's vote. And it wasn't a few days ago that the speaker, it was one of the politicians in Oakland, and it had to do with the school system. And the interviewer cut her off when she started to say it, but she said that Kamala introduced a bill to put moms in jail if their kids don't go to school.
Well, that would be one. I think along that same line, I think that, I'm hoping she gets asked the question. I doubt she will, but I'm really hoping she would be asked the question about men playing in women's sports, because I'm telling you, that doesn't go over well with mamas. Soccer moms don't like that. And you're right. He's got a problem with women, and that he needs to be sensitive to this. I think he needs to think about this in this way. Understand that, it's pretty tight If the numbers are correct, it's pretty tight. And I saw the New York Times poll that came out today, which a lot of people think it's a pretty good poll, showed that they're absolutely divided up the middle on independents, 48-48. And you got to have independents to win. You got to have more independents than they get to win. And so my thought is maybe, you just think of this from the standpoint of, what's going to work, what's going to resonate with those independents in the 7 battleground states, because that's really what matters. Ultimately, that's ultimately what really matters. Stephen and Franklin, I tell you what, Stephen, if you can hold on, I want to go take a commercial break. And when I come back, I'm really enjoying this conversation. Got some open phone lines, 615-737-9986. We'll take more of your calls right after this break, 20 minutes past the hour.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
So you're sitting down across the table from Donald Trump, and he says, hey, how should I handle this debate? What kind of advice would you give? 615-737-9986. Mike in Nolensville, thank you so much for being patient and waiting on the line. You're up next on the drive. What's your advice?
Well, I like everything I've heard so far, but I wouldn't trust that mic being muted. Because you know how they like to sneak in an open mic? Oh, we didn't know it was open. It was a mistake, but it's out there. Whatever he says, it's out there now. You can't get it back.
Yeah, so you say be careful.
Be careful. Don't assume that mic is muted just because it's supposed to be muted.
Apparently, there are going to be some people in the room. So if something is said that is not picked up on the mic, there'll be some reporters there who will be able to report it independently. I like that idea that there's some, a small group of pool of reporters who will be there to provide independent analysis of what happens in the room. Adam in Nashville. Adam, you're up with Brian on the drive. What would you say to Donald Trump? What would be your strategy, your strategery?
Oh, man, there's so many things that you could say, but I got 3 points.
Okay.
The first one would be, I think he should really hammer home the point of why is Joe Biden not on the stage? Why is she there and why is Joe Biden not there? And then he could parlay that into a comment about how she was the most unliked Democratic candidate in the previous election when Tulsi Gabbard, mopped the floor with her and she had to drop out, immediately. And then the third one would be she keeps talking about, a new way forward, but the Democrats have been in power for, 12 of the last 16 years. Yeah. So how can he be blamed for everything when, you had 8 years of Obama and 4 years of Biden to his 4 years? Like, it doesn't make any sense if she's saying a new way forward.
We got to turn the page. Well, but we're turning the page from what you just laid the groundwork for the last 4 years. You're exactly right, Adam. I agree with you. Nikki in Fayetteville, you're up next on the drive. Hey, Nikki, what's your thought?
Well, my thought is women are emotional voters. Half of them are, anyway. So I would say if it's a split screen like it was last time, make sure when she...
Oh, Nikki, can I get you to repeat that? We lost you for just a second there.
I said I would watch the facial expressions while she's speaking if it's a split screen like last time, because women are emotional voters, and they're going to take note of that.
Interesting, and you're right. I read I think it's pretty much well known. That about something like 75% of the communication process is not the spoken word, but it's nonverbal. Did you know that? I think it's very interesting. We pick up a lot of things that we don't even realize we're picking them up. Micro expressions, things that, reactions. Communication is not just verbal. Communication is also visual. That's it. Very good point, Nikki. Good thought. Mark in Fairview, you're up next on the drive. What do you say, Mark?
Hello?
Yeah, you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I would, first just be presidential, be regal, be a gentleman. Drop the name calling. That is pointless, and it just stand on your policies. You don't need to tell somebody how stupid they are. Just point out his successes.
Yeah,
speak to the people that are the independents, the ones that are on the fence. That's what you're trying to sway. You're not trying to sway the base.
Yeah, the base is already there. You're right. He's got to focus. Every thought that comes out of his head, every word that comes out of his mouth should be run through the equation. How is this going to resonate with middle of the road voters in the swing states? Because that's really where it's at. People think about national elections, and look, in Tennessee, we know how it's going to come out. It's a red state, and we're going to dominate. Trump will win here without any doubt. Alabama, a lot of other southern states the same way. It really comes down to about 100,000 voters. in 7 swing states. That's really what this election comes down to. That's how close this election is. All right, I got time for one more. Stephen in Franklin. Stephen, you're on with Brian on the drive. Wrap it up here for me, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, 2 things. We're talking about men in sports, women's sports. Just say it. Just bring it up. I got another thought. Be talking about the future, what America is going to be under him compared to what it is now. That's it.
Yep. A bright, vibrant future, and perhaps a reminder of I've done it once, I can do it again. That's pretty powerful. Hey, I really enjoyed this. Good conversation. We need to open up the phone lines more in the 6 o'clock hour because they were pretty good.
That seemed to work pretty well.
I think I liked it. We'll call it time for the news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7. All right, something is awesome is coming to Genesis Diamond September 20th, 21st, and 22nd, later this month. It's a 3-day designer engagement ring event showcasing the world's top 2 brands in bridal jewelry, Tacori and Verragio. Tacori from California, Verragio from New York, both flying in their entire lines, including all new rings for this special event. You can explore hundreds of exquisite American-made designer rings. Plus, Genesis will have special incentives, 0 interest financing, and up to $5,000. I said $5,000 in instant savings. In addition, Genesis has an expanded selection of GIA certified diamonds for this 3-day event. All shapes, all sizes, rock bottom prices on the rock you want. This is the best of the best. Every Tacori ring is handcrafted by master artisans with exceptional quality. Every Verragio ring is made by hand with unmatched attention to detail. These are brands that only other jewelers only wish they could offer, but at Genesis they'll have the entire Tacori and Verragio collections, and they'll be on display next weekend. Don't miss the bridal jewelry event of the year. It's coming September 20th, 21st, and 22nd at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
"39 minutes past the hour. That means that we're going to be with you for about 21 more minutes, and then we will hand it off to Mark Levin, the great one, and he will carry on through the rest of the evening. Again, I want to remind you that we will be on location tomorrow at Scoreboard, Cedar Creek. It's a great venue, a good place right there on the water. Join me, Chris, Matt, and Dan as we get ready for the... Now, I'll be there at 3. I'll be there at 3, and if you come early, we can hang out, and you can watch the drive. And then the other guys, they'll wander in. I don't know. There's no telling with these guys when they'll show up. And Matt Murphy, he likes to hang and talk to people. He'll talk your ear off. He will.
He's got the gift of gab.
He's got the gift of gab, and so he'll be there, and so just come on out whenever you want to be there. You might want to get there a little early because I'm telling you, the last time it started to fill up pretty quick. But it's a pretty big and accommodating venue, so we'll do all right. Again, Scoreboard Creek. I'll be there at 3:00, and then we'll stay all the way through the debate. We'll be there. So come on by. Details at 997WTN.com. And I'm just now, you have to prep when you go on the road. I got to put everything together and carry it all out there. So
don't forget anything now.
No, I listen, it is. And it's like, if you forget something really important, you can't run back.
That's true. Yeah. You got to do without.
You're in a mess. All right. Some news here. This is sort of batting cleanup on some stuff that I wanted to get into the show today. I found this to be really sad. I don't know why. I've never met the man, but a guy by the name of Walt Emmer, E-H-M-E-R. Do you know who Walt Emmer is, Chris?
The name sounds sort of familiar.
He is the CEO, or was the CEO of Waffle House.
Oh.
I mean, he joined Waffle House in 1992. He screamed up the ladder there, became the president of the company in 2002. So that's exactly 10 years. That's a pretty rapid rise through the ranks of the company. Later added the title of CEO and chairman, and he passed away at the age of 58.
Wow.
Yeah, that's young. He was young when he became the chairman, and because that was in 2002. But at 58, he passed away. And I'm telling you, his leadership and dedication and warmth touched the lives of many, both within the Waffle House family and beyond. He leaves behind a remarkable legacy. The board of directors for Waffle House issued a statement on Sunday saying that he died after a long illness. He'll be greatly missed by his entire Waffle House family. He was chair of the Georgia Tech Alumni Association Board of Trustees from 2012 to 2013, served among service organizations, including the Georgia Tech Foundation Board and the Georgia Tech Advisory Board. Waffle House has locations in 25 states. They first opened in 1955. How many, if you had to make a guess, Chris, how many locations of Waffle House do you think there are?
Ooh, I don't know, like 600.
Oh, no, way low.
More than that?
1,900 locations.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every town, in some parts of the country has a Waffle House. They're in 25, half of the states. Here's a little factoid you probably don't know about Waffle Houses. And I learned this when I was working at Fox News, because you'd be sent into some disaster area. There'd been something that happened, tornadoes or earthquakes or whatever. You go in, you would go in there. You could always get fed at a Waffle House. Because, what happens in like tornadoes and hurricanes and that kind of stuff is the electricity's out, right? Every Waffle House has its own generator. Every single Waffle House has its own generator. Yeah, they're prepared for that. So I learned this. No matter where you go, you can always get food at the Waffle House, even in the worst of times.
It's good to know.
It is good to know. I'm telling you, Waffle House. I'll tell you something about Waffle House. You go to a Waffle House, and if you sit there and you watch a well-trained Waffle House crew is just a thing to watch. They are, uber efficient at every movement. And when they're really well-trained and you got a crack team together, watching, it's like a ballet that's going on there as they're making breakfast. It's really something. But anyway, Walt Emmer, age 58, long illness, passed away this weekend. That's very sad news. Illegal alien arrested for voting in U.S. elections. The Biden Department of Justice believe they're not arrested an illegal immigrant from Guatemala from impersonating Americans and voting in federal elections. 43-year-old Angelica Maria Francisco taken into custody after it was revealed she had been illegally voting in both the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections. She was charged with false claims of citizenship in connection with voting, false statements, and application for a United States passport, use of a United States passport obtained by false statements, and aggravated identity theft. Francisco agreed to plead guilty to all charges. According to court documents, the illegal immigrant who's been residing in Alabama stole the identity of an American citizen in 2011 and used it to obtain a passport and register to vote. She used the passport to travel to and from her home country of Guatemala in 2012, 2015, and 2018. We're told this doesn't happen, but it does happen. Heritage Foundation points out that more than 11,000 illegal aliens have been on Virginia's rolls in the past 10 years, with at least 616 known non-citizens on the state voter registration system within the last couple of years. Arizona also encountered a similar issue, finding more than 200 illegal immigrants have been on the state's voter roll since 21. House and Senate Republicans are working to pass the SAVE Act, which would protect federal elections against illegal immigration voting. They say it doesn't happen. I think it happens a lot more. It's just hard to prove. It's really hard to prove. Taxpayers foot the bill for Mayorkas's generosity. Employees given $2.6 billion in extra vacation time. From the Washington Times, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has given so much extra time off to department employees that one of his agencies had to create an internal system to help employees keep track of it. U.S. Citizen and Citizenship and Immigration Services said its leave tracking tool will make it easier for supervisors to see who is using the generous time off and for employees to monitor how much they have used and how much they have remaining. They call him the patron saint of administrative leave in recognition for his extravagant promise of extra time off. In 2023, he doled out 9 additional vacation days to each employee. He's on track for 10 this year. Why is that? Homeland Security Department says the additional leave time rewards employees doing tough jobs under trying circumstances. Critics say Mr. Mayorkas is trying to buy the affection of employees he puts under those circumstances, particularly the department's tens of thousands of immigration employees. It's all political, it's all for show, says Emilio Gonzalez, who ran USCIS in the Bush administration. It's to address the stress, not the underlying problem. Last week, Mr. Mayorkas granted employees an additional day off in honor of Labor Day. The department has more than 250,000 employees. Wow, 250,000 employees. Their pay varies widely, but conservative estimates are that they average a GS-10 with a starting hourly rate of just above $50 works out to $900 million in potential paid time off last year and $500 million this year. How about that? From the folks at PJ Media, both House and Senate control will hinge on the outcome of a handful of races. The last 5 new presidents who took office entered with partisan majorities in both houses of Congress. But if Democrats can gain a net of 4 seats in the House and Republicans gain 2 seats in the Senate for the first time since the direct election of the Senate 110 years ago, whoever wins the White House will enter office with a divided Congress. History aside, control of the House and Senate going to come down to a handful of races. For Republicans, maintaining or expanding their thin majority will depend on flipping a handful of Democrat seats in districts won by Donald Trump in 2020. In order for Democrats to maintain their 1-seat majority in the Senate, they will need to draw an inside straight. They're going to have to prevail in West Virginia and Montana, and those are states that Donald Trump won by more than 15 points. I feel pretty good about Republicans taking the Senate, which if you're going to take one of the 2 bodies, the Senate I think, is the one, if you have a preference, because Senate does some other things. They confirm nominations. And so, yeah, I'd love to see the Senate, but I mean, the House, it's a closer call. So the odds are pretty good the Senate will flip, writes PJ Media, and some Republican incumbents in the House are having a difficult time against some very well-funded challengers. The Cook Political Report has moved 6 races the Democrats' way in the last week. That's troubling. A split Congress at this point means a legislative dead end for major policy initiatives. You got to have all 3 if you're going to get anything accomplished. What we want is we want to win the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Hold on to the House of Representatives. It'll be tough. I mean, the margins are razor thin in the House of Representatives. Really, really, really close. And on that note, it is now 50 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. You know how I feel about this next client, DT McCall. Been around for more than 100 years, 5 locations, one of them not very far from where you are. And if you need furniture or appliances or something for your home, you need a big screen TV, you need a mower. Oh, I love my Cub Cadet mower that I got at DT McCall. Whatever it is, you need a gun safe. They got them. I'm telling you, anything you need, you're going to find it at DT McCall's. If you've never been to one, you should go by. Some of these places are downright cavernous. They just go on and on and on and on. And you think you've seen it all, then you turn a corner, there's a whole nother room you haven't seen yet. And listen, they're going to treat you right. They're going to give you a good price, and then they're not going to charge you extra for delivery, setup, or haul away of the old thing. That's the kind of folks they are. Whenever possible, they try to do business with other companies that are in Middle Tennessee. They sell products made and manufactured in Tennessee. So, if you're going to buy something, do you want to buy from a big box store that has their corporate headquarters in, Delaware? Or do you want to do business with a company that does business with other companies here in Middle Tennessee? I think you know the answer to that. 5 convenient locations. Learn about all the things they can do for your home and where they are by going to their website, dtmccalls.com.